Hi, I'm Tom.
I'm Matty.
And I'm Lewis.
This is the Wigan Way, Wigan's favourite rugby league podcast.
He'll put you in his trap, 'cause he's a union man. He's got it all figured out. He won't care what you think, 'cause he's a northern man. He's allowed to speak his
So, thank you for coming back again after the Wigan Hull FC match. First game after the Challenge Cup final, and as usual, I'm joined by Matty and Lewis. How are we doing, lads?
Very good, very good.
Yeah, no complaints, very good.
Not too bad. Shall we get off onto Friday's game and start off with that?
Yeah.
Well, it was a 13 points to 12 win for the Warriors after extra time.
Yeah.
Um,
They put us through the ringer, didn't they, with this one? They made
Yeah.
hard work of it.
yeah,
God, that's the thing. Yeah, we made hard work of it. It was the better team for the.
Well, this was the scary thing. Obviously, we sit next to each other, Lewis, and we were walking back, and I just said to you, it's really quite scary that we were the better team for probably 75-80% of the game, and yet we didn't play well at all. We probably played 5 good minutes of rugby, back consecutive minutes. We rolled upfield easily, we defended well. We just didn't got into the 25, into the 20, and everything just went wrong.
Well, we said, didn't we, as we was watching the game, Tom, that in the first half, I mean, we went down at half time and into the stands, yeah, and said that was possibly one of the worst halves we've ever played, and we were just chucking the ball about, not really going direct and forward, north to south, and nothing was going on. We were making loads of errors, core skills not good enough, not like catching balls. I know the conditions started hammering it down and getting really wet, but still we were dropping
Simple balls.
Yeah, simple balls that we should be catching.
Yeah.
And then in the second half, we started to be more direct, and we was marching upfield very easily. I mean, we were making it. When we started going back to how we should have been playing, we direct carries from Marshall and from King and from Wardle, and then on the back of that from Byrne and from Dupree and Pierce Paul. Mago, we played a very good game, which we'll get on to in a bit. But when we started doing that, we was rolling them downfield.
It was weird. I said to you, I was actually a bit concerned when I went down that there was a few people complaining that we were being too direct. And I can't remember the comment that someone made to me,
You can't be too direct.
but it was, oh, we're not going to win because we're not throwing the ball out wide enough. And all I said was, every time we go wide, we're making mistakes. We're not doing the hard work for long enough to create that space.
No.
And it took us almost into the second half to the point where we were making 50-60 metres on every set and really rolling Hull FC back that they couldn't stick with us. And obviously losing Danny Houghton so early, that we'll talk about in a second, is a real loss for them. He's a big tackle maker for them.
Yeah.
But we didn't. That first half, we looked to try and score too early for me. And I have this conversation with you every week, Lewis, that if we're going to a 0-0 after 20 minutes and the ball's been in play for 18 of them,
Yeah.
I'm happy because we get better as games goes on. We are a fitter team than most. We are sticking in games longer, and we've got the X factor to put points on. I worry when we try and go coast to coast early that we are too passive and we don't commit defences centrally, and that doesn't give us the space for French and Field to shine.
Well, look, let's talk about Danny Houghton, because his injury was the first thing that happened in the game, really.
Yeah.
It come from a goal line dropout. Hull on tackle 1 decide to throw the ball very expansively to nobody. He ends up going out the back of their own in goal for a goal line dropout. And
Can we just say what was that?
well, I think this was an early attempt at making a statement about you better not be aggressive in defence when we're coming off our own line because we can do this to you. It just went horribly, horribly wrong. This was, as you said last week, in terms of the cup final, this was a first blink
Yeah.
of I don't want to be in the arm wrestle. We want to get down that other end of that field.
We want to play in your end.
We're going to play in your end, and we're going to do it by a trick play. Not the time for a trick play, nor the place, and it didn't come off. So they end up with a goal line dropout. And then who was it charged back the goal line dropout? Liam Byrne.
Liam Byrne, who actually had a week off before the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Had the Challenge Cup off, was reported that he was carrying an injury, and we'd made a few comments that he probably wasn't playing to the standards we'd come to expect to him. First game back, was quite impressed, really. 28 tackles, 2 missed tackles. Oh, sorry. Not 2 missed tackles, sorry, 2 tackle busts.
Right, yeah.
And 8 carries.
Well, the team did...
For 75 metres.
The team did miss 28.
Yeah.
Which is not great. Hull FC missed 58, which is really bad.
Really worried about it.
So, I was missing 28 doesn't seem quite as bad. I made because having made 14 errors. 14 errors and 28 missed tackles is not a brilliant day at the office, but in those conditions...
And to still get the win.
Purely because Hull missed more tackles and made the same number of errors, I think.
I think the week off can knock you sometimes. I know people say it's a good time, you rest, you recuperate. I feel like, because how Wigan were, we was in a good rhythm.
We were, actually.
You know, I think sometimes a week off when you just train, you don't have that match intensity, you know, at the weekend or the Thursday, Friday and then Saturday or Sunday. Once you have that off and then you just train and then you've got to try and get back up to where you were, where you left off after a bit of a break. I think it seems to definitely knock us.
Well, let's just talk about that very quickly, because when you guys both went away and Andrew was on helping us discuss the league at that position, we actually spoke about a couple of people that I know that worry about coming second because of that week off and the fact that we don't play well after a week off.
Yeah.
So a little bit of me was glad that we just got a win.
Well, I don't forget, Hull were in great form before the cup final as well. So Hull would have also wanted to play that game last week. I think both teams wouldn't have wanted a week off.
So I just think the fact that we actually got a result was a positive in the first place, because I do worry about us after a week off that
there's
we're a bit slow and a bit...
There's going to be 5 or 6 games a year where you play poorly. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But if you can get the win on some of them...
Can you play bad and win?
Yeah. How many times have we talked about that being important if you want to win championships and grand finals? If you want to do that, you have to get wins. You've got to grind out wins even when you're not playing your 100% best. And it showed we could do that. We made life very hard for us. And I don't want to seem negative, because we did get the 2 points and it's positive. It's a win going into a tricky period we've got with a couple of tricky games towards the end of the season.
And we weren't as bad as a lot of people
second
half we weren't
much better.
We weren't as bad as Hull.
No, Hull were better.
To say they were beating us 12-4...
We were the better side.
We've been the better side. We had lots and lots of ball. We struggled to convert.
The way we marched them downfield in that second half and during the extra time with the golden point time, I thought was really impressive, because even when Hull were, playing, Clifford can kick a ball and he was putting in good kicks where Jayfield was returning it, being tackled on the 20. But it seemed like even when Jayfield was getting tackled on the 20, and to start that set off, that defensive set for Hull, we'd still end that set really deep into their half. And it just showed you, I think the frustrating thing from the Warriors fans was they were saying, why weren't we doing this in the first half? We were expansive throwing it, we should have just been going over the top of them.
I think the reason this game wasn't a comfortable win, which is what it should have been, if you think about what you just mentioned there, Lewis, and us rolling the Mise, was we weren't able to turn good ball into points.
Yeah.
We weren't able to. The only try we scored in the first half was from a deep kick, and I don't get why people are so snobbish about tries from kicks. They're still tries. You're allowed to score tries from kicks, but the point still stands. We had loads of good ball and we didn't score any points. We only scored off a kick. Yeah. So same in the second half, same in golden time. We had loads of good ball. We didn't score. Our attack in their 20, I know it's more difficult to attack in their 20, and I get that, but our attack in their 20 was misfiring. Shall we say?
Yeah.
It's probably as poor as it's been all season.
Yeah, and there's games like that. As far as back as I can remember, to being a young lad going to games, there have been 1 or 2 games a year where we've come off and somebody said, the attack in their 20 was definitely misfiring today. It always
Just your
happens
timing's
every
off and
year. Your
everything,
timing's
doesn't it?
off, and the conditions won't have helped that.
There was a bit of situation where I think we was unlucky as well. The one that springs to mind was someone hit KPP on a short ball.
French hit Pierce
Was
Paul on
it
a flat ball.
and Clifford shot out the line and it made a gap which KPP went into. Managed to get the ball to French, and December was on his shoulder and he was ready just to go on for 2 out. And as French is getting tackled where he'd normally pass it, December literally see him slip over.
Yeah.
And he hits the deck, and you're thinking if December stays on his feet, French passes
I
it to
actually
him and he
think-
goes and dives
I
in.
actually think in those conditions, French probably would have scored
Well,
himself.
It possibly would
if he
have,
just
yeah,
would have just slid over.
He did
I-
actually finish over the
How,
line.
how
Yeah,
angry was I at you?
yeah, when he said,
French
why
not-
is
Because
he,
I've just-
why is he passed
look,
it?
because he nearly hit the in
Escape.
goal line.
Oh right, yeah.
He slid that far after. When he's looking at the ball, he kept sliding and nearly touched the in goal line.
Yeah.
And I went,
If December doesn't slip, he does go over
Yeah.
the touch.
Yeah,
That's the
that is
unlucky
true.
part.
And the other one, see, that was the one I was thinking of, but the other one was when we streaked down the right hand side. This wasn't from close range. This was from deep. It was off a kick, wasn't it? When Field streaks down the right hand side, he's got a few men chasing him
yeah,
behind him.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's got Bevan French on his left, just behind him. He passes it to him. One of their men knocks it back towards their own line, so French catches it, carries on running, and the ref throws goes gives for a forward pass.
Well,
When the ref was miles back, I don't get that at all.
There's a
was a
few
very
things to talk
strange
about
decision.
with the ref, and you know that I'm not the biggest fan of going and complaining about the ref, but
There was a few major points that we do need to talk about. But before we get onto that, should we talk about the tries first of all?
Go on.
Because there was some brilliant moments. Obviously, we start off with Liam Marshall opening the try scoring.
Yeah.
And the
Another
player that-
try for Marshall. He's having a good year.
Very, very good year.
Got to be
But the
said.
player I want to praise for this is Pierce Paul. Obviously, they put the kick pressure on and it bounces. Pierce Paul, who's playing in the middle at this point, as the ball loops left to right towards him, he does something that takes a lot of... It's very brave what he did. He actually went against the way of the ball bouncing. You would expect that it's coming left to right, he'd throw the ball left to right. But he doesn't. He actually catches it and takes a second to look around at where the space is. And he drifts back towards where the ball was dropped and puts Marshall in the corner untouched. I thought that was absolutely brilliant play from Pierce Paul.
I think it showed some composure, is what I did. The fact he didn't just panic and just think, oh, it's last tackle off a kick and throw
And
it
he
to
keep
no
it
one.
alive.
He's played eyes up, took his time, looked, what's my numbers like? Right, okay, we've got a 2-on-1 over here. Managed to go in, drew his winger, passed it to Marshall. So yeah, it was very nice, composed, eyes up rugby league.
And it's
from KPP.
Marshall's 19th try in 19 games. In
Impressive,
most
isn't it?
years, that might be top, but obviously Johnson and Charlie are running away with it.
So weird one, 'cause he's going in a bit under the radar in the Wigan team, isn't he? With Field and French, obviously scoring a
And
lot of
Miskey doing
tries,
so
and
well.
Miskey's doing so well. That we sometimes forget that Marshall is on the other wing doing a
impressive,
fantastic
isn't it?
job.
Thing is, French and Field, between them, have only scored 27 this year, but they have laid on 38.
Yeah.
So
Mainly
we'll-
for the
and we'll
centre,
talk about the next tries. They laid one each on today.
Well, yeah.
In this game, sorry.
So that put the score to 4-2. And unfortunately for Wigan, we conceded just on half time to an Adam Swift try. They'd obviously compressed our defence.
Yeah.
Miskey and King were dragged in a little bit to
This
try and
was
help out defensively.
Jake Clifford's brilliance,
Yeah.
rather than I don't want to point fingers in defence. This was
No,
Jake.
I
It's a good play.
It was Clifford.
They've taught, they've communicated.
They
He's
dragged-
like Swift now.
They dragged us into the centre.
Satire dragged players across, and then Clifford executed the kick. And it has to be. It's one thing thinking, "Oh, a kick here would be good," but actually planting it in the perfect spot for your winger, who has to be on side and has to know it's coming. It was just brilliant play, I think.
And you have to set it up without giving it away that you're playing that.
Yeah, you can't give
Yeah,
it away. Yeah,
Um,
this was good play. This.
Yeah.
But obviously, Liam Sutcliffe misses that kick. And that's 6-4 at half time.
Yeah.
Now, for Brad Dwyer's try, there was maybe the second of 3 big controversial refereeing decisions. At the time, it looked like Fields was taken out off the ball, for me.
Yeah.
Watching it back, and this goes on to the point that me and you discussed, Lewis, the other day, that he gives that Jai had dropped the ball backwards.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can drop the ball 10 yards away from you. That's my first thing. So when I was watching it, it just didn't look right. If you drop a ball, it bounces nearby to you. It's very hard to drop a ball 5-10 metres away from you,
Yeah.
as it does. Watching it back, to me it looks like Sutcliffe's hand hits the ball before he catches it, which would suggest a Hull FC knock on.
Yeah.
But there has still got to be a little bit of criticism to Jai here as to why he doesn't just dive on that ball. He tries to pick it up and make a counter attack almost. Why not just boot it into the crowd?
Get it into
Why not
Will's
just,
head.
yeah.
Well, number one, he should jump.
Yes.
Number one, he should jump because then it doesn't matter if he's taken out before or after he touches the ball. It's a penalty. Number two, kick it out, whatever. Put your hand on it.
Just stand on it.
Downward pressure. It was over the line, so just downward pressure would have been enough.
Yeah, I wasn't bothered in which one he did. Just do one of them.
Downward pressure for me would have been fine. Would have been a dropout. We'd live to fight another day. I do agree with you though that if this were a televised game, it would not have counted this try.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't have.
This
Just
try.
put it up to the video ref if it was a televised game every day of the week, wasn't it?
He would have sent it up. Maybe he would have even sent it up as a try, but it would have been obvious on the video that it wasn't a try. Yet another reason to have video ref at every game.
Yeah.
To me, there's no negative. There is no negative.
No, there's no problem with
The only
it.
negative is cost.
Yeah, is the cost. There's no negative to the game of having it at every
No.
thing. But then Sutcliffe converts and that made it 12-4 before...
Big kick, that important kick.
Yeah, big kick. Before Toby King scored just over 3 minutes later.
This come with Powell coming on.
Yes. I was going to talk about Sam Powell at the end of the discussion about how... But we might as well do it now while you brought it up.
Yeah, well, Powell came on just after. He was ready to come on when they
Yeah.
were putting the kick up. And I always hate that when you think, oh, if we could have just got him on, maybe it would have made a difference. He probably wouldn't in that try because it was out wide. But he came on after the try for Swift and he made a real difference. He's got a good rugby brain, as we've said on this show many times, and he made a big difference.
The one thing that you kept saying to us, Lewis, is he's making us more direct. You picked up on something, if I remember right, about his signalling, how he was signalling us forward.
He was just doing a rollover motion with his arm
Yeah.
to his players. Every time he was behind the play of the ball, he was just like a rolling motion to just say, right, keep turning up, I'm just going to keep on hitting you. I'm going to keep on going in behind the ruck and on straight drives. And like I just said before, it led to us going like 50, 60 metres in a set.
Yeah.
Because he knew, it's like you just said there, Matt, it's rugby intelligence and a rugby brain and its experience. He sat on the sideline for the first half, watched what's gone on, seen that we're being too expansive, and he's gone, right, I need to come on now and fix this. So
And
he's
make
come on
us
and just
direct.
said, yeah, right, come on, let's just keep rolling and keep going, which is what we needed to do.
And that's what led to the Toby King try.
Yeah.
It was a great ball by French. Fantastic line by King. Clever not to throw the offload,
Yeah.
which is what French did, as you were saying.
I've actually seen, and I don't normally like, because I know I always have a go at you for this, Tom, so I shouldn't do it myself because this podcast isn't for this. But I've seen some people giving Powell stick online saying, Powell come back today, but he were crap again. I'm a bit like, what do you want? There was no reason to why he thought this person, but I just saw it, I thought, I don't know, and I don't want to call people, because this podcast is about saying you're wrong and us three are right, that's not what it's about, but I'm like, I don't know what else you want from him. Like, he's come on, he's changed the game, he's made us more direct, we've scored tries when he's come onto the field. Like, I'm not saying O'Neill's been bad, he's not at all, but I thought we really benefited when he
for me,
came onto the field.
I've been very, very impressed with Brad O'Neill, and I was concerned at the start of the year.
We've been
About his
lucky.
development and-
We've been
and
really
how-
lucky to have lost Powell for 2-3 months.
Yeah.
The way that he stepped up.
The way that O'Neill stepped up, because usually at the start of this season, if we said you're going to lose Powell, well, what did we lose him for last week? 8. Last year we lost him for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
This year we lost him for even longer. For O'Neill to have stepped up both times, fantastic. I mean, I always think when
And
we
keep Cade cussed out of her.
when Powell last played, it was FA Cup final weekend, Magic weekend. Football's back now, and he's been off
All
for
that
the
time.
summer break, so that's all the time he's missed. That's what I think about when people say about French experiment at 6. Well, it's been a long time now since Catalan game. So
But for me, I look at Sam Powell and the importance, and he kept us direct, and he was visibly one of the leaders.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He is.
One of the major things for me, he came on just around the 58-minute mark and made 21 tackles.
Yeah.
He was only on the field for 20 minutes. We scored 2 tries, plus the extra time. Sorry, I forgot about the extra time bit. But made 21 tackles, and in the time that he's on the field, we haven't conceded a point. I think that says enough about what Sam Powell does. And I understand that he's might not be the best passer from 9, or he might not be the best runner from 9. But he's an absolute leader, and in them big moments, I always get the feeling we're a better team when Sam Powell's on the field because he directs us.
I get that. I agree with you. The biggest criticism I see of Sam Powell is that he's not a threat out and out. He doesn't run. I don't want him to run.
No.
They've got French and Field. I want you to pass the ball to them, not running yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's about that, and that's his job. But
And you can see that in Brad O'Neill's stats that his running from 9 is minimal. His is more effective, but it is minimal. He only made 3 carries from 9 in the best part of 60 minutes. So it's clearly not something they're being asked to do, because that's not the way that we're going to play in.
yeah,
But then we then get on to the next big decision. Was the sin binning of Carlos Tulmavavi.
Not a difficult decision.
Well, for me, the only decision was it a yellow or was it a red? And 99% of the times it doesn't really matter in that situation, but because it went to extra time, Tulmavavi did come back on the field for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Tony Smith came out and said it wasn't even a penalty. Wasn't a penalty.
he said it wasn't a penalty. I've not seen that. Wow.
Wasn't a penalty, it wasn't a sin binning, won't be a ban. And he's got a 2-game ban.
Yeah. Well,
It was right in front of us.
We've talked about German suplexes before on this show. I said Brock Lesnar had been given tackle technique tips, and of course it is a yellow card. Of course it's a ban. You can't just suplex somebody. You can't do it, can you? And it's called in this sport. It's not called a suplex. It's called a Cumberland throw. But yeah, it's a German suplex in all but name, isn't it?
And I think the one that gave it away was Cameron Scott.
Oh yeah.
Because if you watch the replay of Cameron Scott, he's almost behind the tackle falling off. And as soon as he does it, he puts his head on his hands and turns away as if like to say, "Oh my, what have you done?"
He knows he's in trouble.
He knew he was in trouble. Tulmavavi never argued. Never argued with the ref. I think the only question he asked is it a yellow or is it a red?
Yeah, I don't think it was really that malicious. I think he just got caught wrong side, trying to bring a player down.
Yeah.
You can't do that though.
It was similar to the Hardacre one a good while
couple of
ago.
weeks
I
ago.
don't think it was to the state of Will Price. It wasn't that bad.
No,
But it was I think similar to like a Hardacre.
I think
It's
the
a
2-game
reckless throw, isn't it? It's a reckless throw. Luckily, he landed on his back and not
Yeah.
on his head or neck, or so.
good to
It's
see.
dangerous and
Good to see
reckless.
they didn't try and milk it though as well.
Yeah.
They didn't stay
No.
down and try and milk a red.
Because here goes the next thing: is he actually stayed on the field?
Yeah.
If he stays down, holds his head,
Yeah.
goes off for HIA.
If he was Michael Lewis's teammate, probably would have held his head.
But 4 minutes later,
In he goes.
Field gives a cut-out ball. He hits the gap that the centre should have been filling. And a very, very classy move. We talk about...
It's that
rugby
line
players.
again.
He runs a brilliant line, but for me, it's the way he just holds the ball in each hand, shimmies right, shimmies left, steps the full back, and it's just... We were sat a little bit above it, and just the subtleties in his hips, the way that he just went left to right, just means that he just evades everyone, and no one barely gets a hand to him.
This lad's a proper centre.
He's a proper centre.
That line he run, we've seen him run it before. He's got tries from it in the past. Great line, fantastic
He's a
fantastic
quality
player. I'm
centre.
so pleased we've got
I
him.
can't sing his praises enough.
Well,
It's
and
been a
another
quality signing.
try for him, another assist for Field.
Yeah.
One each for French.
It was a good ball off Field as well, because
good
that
ball.
pass didn't get to Field in the place he would. I think he had to like kind of step and lean back a bit for it. Pass, caught it, ran to the line, and still threw a nice flat ball. So it was good play off Field as well for the assist.
That try was with about a minute left. Now I'm worried about short kickoffs because we are
I can't remember the last time we caught a
we are
short kickoff.
notoriously for a team that had Pierce Paul and I think Nsemba was on the field, and I do want to talk about Nsemba in a minute.
And how good Toby King and
And,
Jake Wardle are as centres.
Marshall is amazing in the air.
We never
we should
catch
just,
a short
We should
kick-off.
just load them up there. It always ends up being Farrell stuck underneath it or somebody. But I was worried about that. They didn't. They went long, perhaps hoping to send it to extra time Hull and regroup there.
I'll be honest, it was a bad miss, that one, from...
when he missed the kick.
Smith.
Yeah, to make it even.
I can let him off for the first two because he's within 2 metres of the sideline.
Touchline, yeah. And he hit the post on the first one, didn't he?
Yeah. The third one he has to kick, in my opinion. I'll stick up for him when I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
That was a bad miss. And I think he knew it.
Yeah.
He knew it.
He had to kick that one. But he didn't, and we were still level. They went long with the kick-off, and we actually rolled them. I don't remember, did we get a 6 again?
No, we didn't.
We just rolled them. So, yeah, fantastic effort to just roll them like that. Get a chance at a drop goal, which... I'm struggling to remember because there were so many efforts.
Well, the first one was when Farrell was lied down injured. And...
Was that in normal time?
No one got attempted in normal time, did we?
But we marched down the field.
We marched down the field, but I don't think we got...
Did we not get an attempt?
I don't think we got an attempt.
I don't remember.
You can have a look quick now.
I'll try and find it while you talk.
But then obviously we go into Golden Point, and this is where my next criticism of the match official comes. Of Farrell goes down injured and the ball goes back off a Hull FC hand.
We should have scored. We should have scored a try.
We should have scored. But he doesn't signal 6 again. Where everyone knows it's a 6 again, he doesn't signal it. So Wigan keep playing because we got stung in the semi-final where we thought it should be 6 again, Fields of Bran, and it was never given. So we got tackled on the last and it killed our momentum. But we get tackled and Farrell is still down injured, holding his head. I think he was holding his head. So the ref stops the game and Harry Smith goes over to the ref and says, "Is it 6 again? What is it?"
Yeah. When he says it is 6
He says it's 6 again. So Wigan set up to play that set out as it being the first tackle. Now this is where I feel really, really sorry for Harry Smith. When we start the game again, the pass comes left from the tackle to Smith, who's the first receiver. But just as he waves time back on, he puts his hand up. He's not waving it.
He's just got his fist clenched.
He's got his fist clenched.
Yeah. And obviously it's very similar to the fifth and last signal, which is an hand in the air. So I think if you had a quick look at the ref to just try and see what tackle it is, you very easily confuse it being fifth and last.
This is where I feel
6
really
again.
sorry. When you watch the replay, it's only as he's making the pass that he starts to wave his fist to signal 6 again. So if you're Harry Smith and you're getting set up to make a play and you look at the ref before the ball comes, you see his hand in the air. He's not give 6 again. What do? I'm going to have to take a quick shot at 1 point here. And he ends up missing that attempt.
I think Clifford blocked the normal time drop goal attempt.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
So I did feel really sorry for him though, because what is he meant to do? That was a very, very poor signal from the ref.
Yeah,
it wasn't
it was.
clear what was going on.
We struggled to set up a drop goal. We had many sets on the line in extra time, and we struggled to set up a drop goal. The one I just mentioned then, where Clifford blocked it in normal time, was a bit rushed, and it was last tackle, and they could send the house right. But then in extra time, we had plenty tackles in the bag to roll down the field, get closer, try one. We had a few attempts. We finally, after 3-6 agains, it felt like, we finally attempted one, and Smith put it wide. The problem is, all the defence are charging at him, and he's supposed to catch it and drop a goal. We had no second kicker set up.
I've seen a lot of criticism saying we need a 2 drop goal set up. Very similar to the way that Lee hit it, where it went back to O'Brien and he could play to Lachlan Lamb on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Harry Smith's the only one putting his hand up to take the drop goal.
Well, who would you say in our team is the best at distributing from 9?
Best at Brad O'Neill.
Brad O'Neill, right. The quickest. Who's going to get the ball in Harry Smith's hands the quickest? Brad O'Neill.
Yeah.
Who has got perhaps the best rugby brain?
Sam Powell.
Sam
Yeah,
Powell.
Powell.
Right. Why wouldn't you sub Brad O'Neill on and have Sam Powell as your second kicker? Sam Powell sets everybody up, and O'Neill gets it into the hands quick as possible.
And then
Powell
Sam Powell's
ca-
waiting.
Sam
just
Powell's
in
waiting
case.
just in case. Powell can't be the one kicking it and passing it from 9, and he can't be the one setting it up and passing it from 9.
This is a little bit of it from me. Of if you have that 2 drop goal taker setup,
Yep.
you come back to Smith. If it's not on, he can play.
You know, even you go to Powell to Smith, and the ball gets through hands.
Yeah,
And
but-
he's deeper. Smith's
Yeah.
deeper.
But if you go to Powell, he's got the brain to either take it on or run.
Yeah.
One of the best drop goals ever was Richards at the 31-30 at Bradford, my favourite game ever.
Yeah.
But Trent Barrett, the tackle before, he sets up for the 1 pointer, gets pressured, and because it's the 4th tackle,
He just
left
eats
foot
he just
step,
eats
right
the
foot
tackle,
step, beats a couple of the on-rushing defenders,
Quick play the ball.
quick play the ball, and then Richards hits it.
And we could have done that because Smith actually went for it on the first tackle.
Yeah.
And the worst thing was he went for it on the first tackle with about 30 seconds left in Golden Point time 1.
Yeah.
So surely, even if you want to go for a drop goal and you think you're close enough and you've had a quick play of the ball, surely you do a couple more drives. You try and score a try. Because you want to kick that drop goal successfully. Kick it or miss it with no time left for Hull to do
Yeah,
anything.
so they don't get a chance.
So they don't get a chance, and so you get then to kick off for the second half as normal. Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Actually, what we did was we kicked it with about 40 seconds left on first tackle, and he missed.
But we finally did kick a drop goal, and it was a sweetly struck one
Yeah.
from about 40, 45 metres
45
out.
at
something
least.
like that,
metres. But this is it, right?
and pinged it straight between the uprights for a 13-12 victory.
Because we're so far out, we're not setting up some fancy play where we're dropping men on the inside and doing whatever.
Oh, I've still kept this on now. I'm watching Field just tear through the entire team.
We just get,
Everybody's had a go at tackling him.
but we just get set. And Sam Smith gets set up, centre of the goal. And because we're not trying to put men in front of him or anything like that, there's a bit of a disguise behind it. No one knew what he was going to do, and then everyone went, "There's
Oh,
no
he's
kick
going
pressure."
for it, yeah.
Oh wow, he's hit it! What?
Oh wow, he's going for it. Yeah, and obviously
All fans were thinking he was just going to bomb it up there or something
Yeah.
like that, where no blockers in front of him, and then suddenly it was, oh no, actually he's dropped it on the floor. Oh, actually we've lost.
So we're 5 out here. We've set one up and we've passed, and we've got 4 on 2, and that's when Farrell got injured.
Yeah.
But like we said before, very good to get the win because it was, like we said, harsh conditions. It was a scrappy game. We weren't performing at our best.
Yeah.
We did make it hard for ourselves, but the main thing is we've come away with 2 points, and that's the main thing. So we're going to some difficult games
Now,
coming up.
there was a few highlight players for me for the Wigan side. First of all, I think in the forwards, I was very, very impressed. Liam Byrne, first game back, 28 tackles, 9 carries, averaging 8 metres a carry. Farrell, 31 tackles. Smithies, 45 with 20 carries. Farrell had 18 carries. A lot of players getting through a lot of work. But I wanted to talk about one prop in particular, was Mago.
A prop, yeah, Mago.
6 weeks ago, I was not impressed with him.
Whoa, are you looking at his stat line?
Yep.
I've just looked it up. That's incredible.
It's the longest I think I've seen him do on the field.
He was on the field for a good while. Compared to what he normally does, he was on for a very...
Because
He was on for Golden Town as well.
Well,
Yeah.
this was what I was going to say. He came on at 20 minutes and played out the rest of the first half. Did a little bit of the second half, came off, went back on.
I'm sure he went back on after about... I think he only had about 5-10 minutes
I
off
think
on
he
the
had about 10
sideline.
minutes off, came back on for 15, came off with 5 left, and then we got an injury. Or someone didn't come out at half.
No, Dupree went.
Dupree went off at
Dupree
Golden Point,
went.
didn't he?
No, Dupree went off in the. I'm not sure Dupree came back on. I think Dupree might have been injured.
There was someone, who came off in Golden Point when you get the extra sub.
Yeah.
And they brought Mago back on. He did another 7 minutes, and his stats are very, very impressive. 22 tackles, 4 from marker, 1 missed tackle, but he made 17 carries for 122 metres.
Yeah.
And every single one of them is a battle. If he can play like that every week, He is a brilliant
Yeah,
asset.
that's an effort. That is.
He's
17
something different.
carries.
He's something different. How many errors? One?
One error.
One error? One offload? I mean, you've
Oh, sorry, no. One offload and
no errors.
no errors.
No errors. So the big parts of his game are missing tackles and errors. Didn't do it.
Yeah.
Those are the cons of his game. The pros of his game are making meters, drawing defenders in,
Not
and
getting down to ground.
and offloads. No, he only did one offload, but the others he did really well. So big minutes, big game.
If he can play
You
like
don't
that
want him
every
to
week.
offload in those conditions.
No,
That
exactly.
takes up the jumper.
Exactly.
Takes up the jumper rugby, isn't
Offloads
it? So,
are for a certain time and a certain place, and that
Yeah.
wasn't it. So you're right there.
And he is
so.
a brilliant prop to get you some momentum for golden point time. So I
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
why Matty
Oh, yeah,
brought
yeah.
him back on.
Yeah.
But again, all the outside backs, French making 8 carries, King 16, Wardle 10, Marshall 13, Basmiski making 14 carries.
I'm going to mention Field, 152 metres,
Yeah.
10 tackle busts
Obviously, that 152 is a bit skewed due to his big break
in golden time. Yeah.
in golden time because that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Toby King though, no big long break like that, but he did have 122 metres on 16 carries.
Yeah.
He had 8 tackle busts, 16 tackles as well, and plus a try, to go with it. So
you wanted to talk about Junior December?
no, I did want to talk about December, and the reason I wanted to talk about him is because, and Hill actually, is because they just had solid games.
Yeah.
And nobody came out of it saying to me that Junior December's the next Graham West or he's the next, I don't know, Ellery Hanley. He just had an alright normal game.
You almost didn't see him.
No, but he had to come on very early because of Wardle's head test, which luckily Wardle passed.
Yeah.
But he had to come off Wardle for that test, and Sembo was the one who came on, Farrell to centre. So, and Sembo was a bit thrown in, and I think sometimes if you think about last time we played Hull, when he said that leaving Nsemba to the last minute was a mistake.
Yeah, but like 10 minutes to go or something.
And obviously it was a tight game and the blood must have been rushing to his head, and he's finally come on, wanting to make an impact. He's on a great drive, and then they offload it to him and he drops it. Now, this time, there's none of that. There's no pressure building up because it's just, Wardle's have to come off quick. Junior, you're on. He's in. He's straight into the game. He's making his tackles. He's making his meters. Then when he comes on for his second spell, he's just as effective. He played the whole golden point time. So I just think a normal, average game, sprinkled in with a few excellent runs like he had at Leeds and like he had at Wakefield away. That's what I want from Junior and Sember.
Yeah.
As of now.
Hill, like Harvey Hill, just went about his business.
Yeah, not so many metres for Hill. He only made 4 carries, but still quite a few tackles for him. And again, no errors. Didn't notice him.
They've done well because
19.
they're stepping
20.
up, aren't they, with
Yeah.
Ellis being... Because
Ellis
no disrespect to them, but obviously if Ellis isn't banned, he's probably in the squad and one of them drops. So, but they both did well to step up, like I say, both had solid games. So, yeah, fair play to the young lads.
The thing I wanted to mention about December was that he actually came on the left.
Well, because Farrell went to
Because
centre.
Farrell went to centre.
Necessitated another
He then
second row.
Went on to the right second row when Pierce Paul went into the middle. I actually think
I love that system. Pierce Paul going into the middle it works for me.
Pierce Paul, for me, he's far more effective as a middle.
He won't do it next year though.
But what I wanted to say about
He might play centre next year, Pierce Paul.
what I wanted to say about December playing on the left and the right is it gives you the option to carry him on the bench, because I do believe that the signing that we're going to bring in Sam Walters will be that right second rower.
I mean, we'll talk about him in a bit, but what a player he looks to be. Like,
Yeah,
we seem to have got a good one with him there.
But he's playing right second row, and
Yeah.
as a prop, you could start him there, then sub him on December on to play 50, 60 minutes on that right centre.
Yeah, I mean,
Right second row.
I've got kind of high hopes for Walters to be Pierce Paul's replacement and to play a similar role as what Pierce Paul's doing right now, which would leave Nsemba in a similar role to what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
But we've seen Walters be used as a prop and be very effective.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
So he's doing what KPP is doing for us now, where he's used as a bit of a prop and mostly as a second row.
Well, I think that's everything, isn't it?
I mean, everything like I said, just to finish, it was, like I said before, some dubious ref calls, some
Well,
awful
actually,
conditions.
I just remembered then we didn't mention that.
2 points is a very
Because
big thing.
there was 4 major ones, and
Oh yeah, but we said there were 4 major ones when we were there. Having looked back at
having looked at them, I think there was 3.
having looked back at the let's call it a schmozzle.
At the beginning.
Steve would have called it a schmozzle in the first half.
Handbags.
When Chris Satai and Scott Taylor looked to have picked on Liam Marshall.
It just looks a bit of pushing.
2-on-1. It was just a bit of pushing and shoving. There were no punches thrown. That's why it wasn't brought up in the match review.
There was a couple that really I did genuinely believe were bad calls. The one of the field pass to French.
The field pass to French was fine. Absolutely fine.
The signalling for the 6 again.
Signalling for the 6 again in extra time.
And the off the ball.
And the
tackle
tackle
off the
on
ball,
field.
Liam Sutcliffe.
Where Sutcliffe, for me, hits the ball straight out of his hand.
Yeah. And with a video ref,
It doesn't get given.
with the video ref, that doesn't get given that try.
Yeah.
And possibly one of them gets simbin for the schmozzle.
Yeah.
Actually.
I think justice was done because I think we were the better team.
We
like
deserved
you
to
said, 75 to 80%. I think if Hull would have nicked it in golden point, we would have
Yeah.
felt a real strong sense of disappointment. There would
I
have been
agree.
more frustration around the refs' calls. Wigan were the better team. They deserved to win, and they did win. So justice done, I think.
And one of the friends that we watched the game with actually made a good point. It's always better playing bad and winning than playing bad and losing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
It's always a better feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
So
No, it's better.
Champion teams do
What
it.
do you mean better than playing well and losing?
I'd rather play badly and win than play badly and lose.
Oh, yeah, but I'd rather play badly and win than play well and lose.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So the fact that we get a win, it changes your perspective on it. That we got away with one there. Just
2 points in the bag. We now go to the south of France next week, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Obviously, when we get to the predictions bit later on in the episode. But a good, like you said, tough conditions and tough ref calls against us. Getting the 2 points was the main thing, and we managed to do it. So, good win.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have a look at Super League. Thank you. So thank you for coming back after the break. Now we're going to have a look at the rest of Super League. There's been a few shock results, but Lewis, you predicted 6 from 6 this week.
I did.
It's an alright week for you.
Got some credit on Twitter.
Me and Matty just picking 4 apiece.
Yeah, we got 4, which on a normal week would be okay, but
When you get 6,
someone over here got 6 in a row.
Lewis knows rugby.
Is that that can be the name of this episode?
The predictor king,
Yeah,
not the target.
he's winning our predictions. We should have that every week. Prediction king. Who's winning?
Prediction
Who's won
king.
this week? All right.
I think most weeks we would draw.
I'll get you a throne then. Like a throne and you could have a fancy chair.
That'll be good.
So the first game this week was at the John Smith Stadium, Huddersfield vs Salford. Now, me and you, Lewis, we both backed Salford, but I don't think any of us backed us with this sort of result. 32 points to 8 to the Salford Red Devils. They were winning at half-time, 12-8, 20 unanswered points in the second half. Not a great result for Huddersfield at all, because that is a close game that's gone haywire, really, for them.
Well, they said, didn't they wanted to make a point with, they wanted this late kind of push to try and get into that 6th
Sneak
spot.
into the
or
6th.
They needed to beat these teams because they were playing the teams around them who were also fighting for that 6th spot. And
It's weird, after this result,
it's a big loss, this one. Really.
it's put them 4 points behind Salford and Warrington, who are on
Yeah.
22 points
So you
in
feel
5th and
that.
6th. With 5 games to go, can you make up two wins for Huddersfield? They've got some very difficult games: Leeds, Lee, Hull KR, Hull FC and Warrington.
Well,
Can you
I
see
said-
them winning 5 from 5?
I said they've got 5 out of 6 games against the other 5 teams fighting for those 2 spots. So really, it's in their hands. But I said they had to beat Salford and they didn't. And not only did they not beat them, they collapsed in the second half. I'm afraid to say they were winning 8-6 and then they collapsed.
If they don't make, because I'm going to put it out there now, I'm going to predict that they won't make the 6th
I
spot.
don't think they'll make the 6.
So if they don't, where do you think that leaves Watson? He's gone from a Challenge Cup final. They've spent big in the transfer and he's got loads of players in.
3rd place last year, didn't they?
Third place last year.
3rd place last year, and then
Well,
they've gone
4th place, I think it was 4th.
and not
No,
made,
it's 3rd place. 3 points clear of Catalan in 4th,
Oh, right.
and not made the playoffs.
with a points difference of 116 positive.
I'm not trying to call for anybody's head. I think Ian Watson is a good coach, but I just wonder what they will
That's
make
a
of that.
regression,
When
isn't
you're
it?
thinking, if you don't make the playoffs, but you've spent that big, and you're people looking to build, and you've had a bit of a, do you just say, "Well, it was one of those seasons. We try again next season," or
So when
do
did
you make
Watson come in
changes?
charge of Huddersfield?
Oh,
Was it pre-COVID?
No, I don't think it was that. That wasn't that long ago. I don't think.
Because
It was definitely in charge of Salford for the cup final, for the grand final in 2019. Was he in charge of
This is
Salford?
third season at Huddersfield now.
This, I reckon, this is his third season, maybe. When did Salford make the grand final?
So he went to
2020.
Huddersfield in 2021.
Yeah, so it's his third season.
So it's his third season.
So he made
This is
he made a
the
grand
year.
final. He made a grand final and a Challenge Cup final at Salford.
Yeah.
Lost them both, but with Salford you're punching up, aren't you, by getting to those two finals? And then
Traditionally, yeah.
he's got to. So they finished 9th in his first season in charge. They might finish 9th this year, or what are they now, 10th? So
10th. This is what really, where I really struggle with what Watson said. He's talked about it being a process, and we can take the mick about what he says, and
his cap with his ears
his
tucked
cap
in.
with his ears tucked in, which is a surprise.
And his silly tie and Harry Hill collar at the cup final last year.
But he's talked about it being a building and a journey. He takes over Huddersfield and they finish 9th. He then improves. They get to 3rd, but probably aren't in competition with Wigan and Saints, who Wigan are 3 points clear and Saints were 7 points clear of them in first, with far superior point difference. So you're thinking, he's now got to the point of the best from the rest. He gets to a Challenge Cup final and loses to Wigan.
So yeah,
He has
the best of the rest is right.
Yeah. Can he go the next step?
Mm.
And you're thinking, a little bit of investment, a bit of whatever. They've not lost notable players other than the hooker Danny Levi.
But they replaced
They
him.
bring in Masters, they bring in Pete's,
to replace him.
Kevin Nguama, Sam Halsall, Jake Connor, all these, Jake Bibby.
They brought a lot in this year. You're
He
right.
had
That's what I mean. He can't really now be hiding behind words like processes and transition, because it's like, this is your team. You've spent big in the transfer. You've got players. All right, might take a bit of time to gel, but how many games in are we now?
So the
You've
one,
not had enough
this is
time to
round
gel now
22.
and know what your best
Round
13
23,
is.
sorry.
so the losses this year for Watson, after coming 3rd and getting to the cup final, his recruitment, he lost Jake Wardle, although he was on loan anyway at Warrington,
Yeah.
Danny Levi, and Jack Cogger. They're basically like the ones. And he lost Michael Lawrence as well.
he was being phased out the way
Yeah, and
wasn't he?
to bring in Kevin Nguama on a 2-year deal, Jake Bibby, Jack Bibby, and Sam Halsall, all from Wigan on 3-year deals. Harvey
Forgot Jack
Livett and Jake Connor.
Hmm.
So you're signing
And
Nguama.
Masters,
Masters must have been
after that article.
after that article, yeah. But yeah, that's some recruitment, isn't it?
That's some recruitment. And next year they lose Will Price. They're losing Theo Fage.
But he's not playing at the minute anyway, Will
No, he's
Price.
not
Is it
playing.
because he's injured, or is he just not
No, he's
picking
been in
the
the
team?
reserves the last couple of
Has
weeks
he?
I've seen.
No, Fires hasn't been playing a lot as well.
So you're looking and you're going, he's 3 years in now. They've regressed in the 3rd year. Are they going to regress again?
Well, I think they might give him. He's gonna have the best of this season. I think they might keep him on for. But I think if he doesn't get off to a good start next season, I think the chairman will be looking, thinking, "Oh no, I don't want another season
at
of
what
not
point
doing
do you
top
pull the
six."
plug though?
Do you really remember Ken Davey being someone who will
Sack someone.
sack somebody? I don't know.
I can't see him sacking him.
He's invested big though now, hasn't he? He's put a lot of money in this season with those transfers and those. So
He has for
I
a
don't know
while,
if
to be
it's-
honest.
I don't know if it's changed it where he's thinking, no, I've been out, I've got players, we've spent big as a club, and it's like you said there, when you pull the plug, well, when you're putting money in and you're getting nothing out of it.
I don't know. I think you.
I don't know, I'm just posing the question.
There's
but-
been a lot of coaches. They've had a lot of coaches, and actually Watson. If I'm looking at it now, Watson's probably the longest serving coach for a while, especially if he does next year as well. Since probably Nathan Brown.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you. I can see him getting another year just because I do think Davey will stick with him because of the highs of last year. But I do think he'll be on the hot seat.
Well, I'm just looking at it there. Nathan Brown had 09 to 12.
Yeah,
Paul Anderson was 13 to 16.
yeah.
They had a couple of interims.
So 3 years. So
Stone was 16 to 18, so 3 years. Simon Wolford 18 to 20.
Well,
Lee
he
Robinson.
got sacked. So it was 2.5 years for him.
Yeah. Luke Robinson interim.
Luke
This
Robinson
is his
finished
third
it.
year.
Yeah,
Could be on the
actually,
chopping board.
there's
He
not
could be on
many.
the chopping board now. I'm thinking like you might get till next year.
The last time a coach got a fourth year was John Sharp in 2004. That's the last time any Huddersfield coach got a fourth year in charge.
And this, if I'm Ken Davey, I'm really upset because you look at the success that they've had. It's not been a lot. They won multiple Challenge Cups. They've won 6 of them. They've won 7 championships in the 40s, in the early periods of the game. The last thing they won, they didn't win anything from 62 to 2013 when they got the League Leaders Shield. And they've done nothing since 13. He's invested heavily in this squad, brought in the most up-and-coming coach ever in Ian Watson that everyone was saying Wigan should go and look at. Remember people complaining that we hadn't gone and got him? And he got to a final. This is the time to turn it around. Can he risk waiting until next year? If someone became available, could he risk waiting until next year?
That's the question.
Because I don't know who would replace him at the moment. That might be the question.
Yeah.
But if an NRL coach is looking, an NRL coach might fancy that job.
I think he'll.
the squad
I
depth.
think he'll. Like I said, I think he'll stick with him. But I think if they get off to a rocky start next season, I think he'll Davey will kind of have in the back of his head. He'll be watching the start they make, and if they start to make a
Are you
negative
going to give
start,
him another 3 or 4 signings? Because Chris Hill's another year older. Lola Here's another year older.
depends if Watson thinks he needs more signings, or if he thinks he's got a squad now that he can work with. He needs a pre-season with this squad gelled together. Once some players go,
But let's go.
it's just so I've got us off topic, but it's just an interest because you just expected, or we expected, or I
I
definitely
think I predicted
expected.
him finish third again.
Yeah,
mate.
You were
big
expecting
things,
big
big
things.
things, and they've just not delivered this season as a club. But go on, let's move
No,
on.
But Salford quickly. Good win for Salford.
Yeah,
Back on track.
Back on track.
Back on track. They needed 2 points.
They hadn't won a game in 7.
No, they needed
Having
to.
lost to KR, Wigan, Wakey, Leeds, Lee, Catalans and Saints.
Did some tough games.
They
so
needed that week
They
off.
needed that week off, and they needed that win.
And to bounce back now, they've got some good games. They've got Wakefield next week, Wigan.
Some of those
Warrington,
tries
KR.
as well.
Very
Croft
impressive.
was incredible when I've seen some of the tries he's laying on, especially that one for the fullback. Amazing.
Yeah.
We've got to mention Jake Connor though. Just launching a drop out
Well,
out on the full.
I know this was it, right? 80th minute, Hooter about to go, just decides to throw a temper tantrum and boot his drop goal out on the full, give a penalty away.
Salford just got 3 2 points.
Yeah.
Just
Imagine
to
they
add,
miss out on the playoffs back on points difference.
just to add insult to injury. Salford I'll just have another 2 points. Every point matters in these
Especially when there's 18, there's 6 teams that could
Yeah,
get
scrappy
2 positions.
for 2 positions. So every point
That's a
matters.
temper tantrum, and I would be fuming if I was Ian Watson that my player had done that. Right, the next game, obviously, again on Friday. We didn't watch these games live because they were all being played at the same time. But was St Helens and Hull KR. Now, you both predicted St Helens. I predicted an upset that Hull KR would have a big bounce back, and I thought the Wembley effect would affect them the week after. I was wrong. But I'm alright saying that, I can admit that. It was 6-0 at half time to St Helens. And then in a 20-minute period, Saints 24 points unanswered and went on to win the game 28 points to 6. 15-20 minutes of bad rugby from Hull KR. Very similar to a few results of them that I've seen where they've conceded points in bunches. What are we thinking, lads?
I think Saints have coped relatively well with losing the power up front. They've not faced any of the big boys. I'll say that carefully, since these lads were ruled out.
Well, since the league game,
They
they've
beat
faced
Salford,
Leeds.
didn't they?
They've faced Leeds, Salford, Huddersfield, and now Hull KR.
So they squeaked past Leeds and Salford. Huddersfield put up a bit of a fight with 12 men, as we spoke about last week, and they've blown away Hull KR. So maybe they're finding a way to play without these,
they're
Parsi
running,
and Walmsley.
they're running for St Helens. Considering you're missing them players,
I mean, we're missing Cooper and Havard, who were our 2 starting
Yeah.
props, but we won't get mentioned.
but They miss it. They play Cass away, Wakey away. They're probably two favourable fixtures.
Yeah, they've got a very nice run in.
Lee at home, Warrington away, which Warrington may be fighting to get in the top 6 at that point. And Hull FC, who could be fighting for the top 6 at that point, the last game of the season. So them last 3 games will be a real test to see how they cope against some bigger packs.
I can see them going into second though, just because I think they've got the easiest running out of us, them, and Lee.
Yeah, I can get with that. Hull KR, just fatigue. 20 minutes. Wembley had took it out of them.
I think it was always going to be hard for Hull KR to win this game. I thought to win this one would be an immense
I think I backed him out of pure wish.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not criticising for doing so. It's okay. We know a good team with good players. If they turn up, they can beat and upset anybody. But I thought, after the disappointment, the emotional investment they would have put into the game last week to walk away with nothing, they would have been on a real lawn. They would probably think if there's one team you don't want to go and play after you've just lost at Wembley, you don't want to play Saints at Saints, because it was at Saints, wasn't it? Do you know, Saints away from home, you're not back in front of your own fans who could possibly pick you up and give you a vote of confidence. It's Saints away, it's probably a dreaded fixture after that, so it was always going to be hard for them.
Just a quick one on Saints. They also had Ben Davies at centre, missing Hurrell and missing... What's his name?
Percival?
No, Percival played the other centre.
Is a
Hopawati. Both of them out injured. I don't know how long it is on them being back.
Horrell can't be so long now. 2 more weeks, 1 more week.
They'll be looking to get a couple of bodies back in there.
I've seen a couple of Saints fans who've been impressed with the kids coming through. That Delaney for them.
Yeah,
a couple of Saints fans.
Getting a lot of praise.
Delaney coming in.
We spoke about being fans of Benison.
Yeah, so a couple of them, Ben Davies coming in at centre, so it seems like a couple of the kids coming through, the fans are taking to and saying they're doing a good job in the absence of some of the senior players.
Yeah. They've always had good academy players.
They do. Wigan and Saints, I think, are the 2 big ones for that.
It's no secret that the clubs with the most success over the last 20 years have been Leeds, St Helens and Wigan, and they're the teams that generally have the strongest academies.
Yeah. KR, they just got to bounce back next week. You don't want to lose at Wembley, then bang.
KR, as we spoke about, put all their eggs in the Wembley basket.
Oh, I forgot they got Lee.
They've got to play Lee next year.
Yeah,
at Hull KR though.
Because that could be
interesting.
A difficult point here, because they play Lee at home, Catalans at home.
They must play us twice more, because that's how this season's gone.
But then, if they lose both of them, they'll definitely be out of the 6.
Yeah, but they're
playing against the last 3 games being Huddersfield, Salford and Wakey, who are all fighting. They could actually end up losing the Challenge Cup and not making the 6 after a very, very positive start to the season.
That would be a disaster.
That would be a big setback.
They've got to get back on it now, haven't they?
Yeah.
If you're a Hull KR fan, what do you make of Ollie Gildart celebrating with the Challenge Cup?
We didn't speak about this, did we?
No, I completely forgot about this.
Yeah, celebrating it.
Considering he's not played for Lee yet.
Well, he has played 1 game. He played the week before the cup.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, played at centre.
I think it's a very harsh one for Gildart, innit? 'Cause what do you do in that situation? The lads who you're training with have just won a cup and you've played against and you're going to finish in this season with, but against your team who you're starting with, I think he's in such a weird...
I get being there.
I think he's damned if he does and he's damned if he doesn't. If he doesn't celebrate, everyone says to him, why is he not celebrating? And
I think go on the stage, maybe not get up and raise the cup.
Wear the shirt, go on the stage, wear the shirt, but if the cup gets past you, pass it on to the next person.
Yeah, have a look at it and then pass it on.
You can have your picture taken with it. Maybe. He never won it. He never won it before.
Never won it before?
No, he never won it with Wigan.
Interesting, didn't think of that. Oh yeah, no, he didn't do it. Anyway, next game, shall we have a quick look at, was the relegation battle.
Okay. Friday night.
At Wakefield, David Fafita had promised to do a shoey in the crowd if they won, with brother Andrew, who'd come over from Australia to watch.
Yeah, didn't he play like
he just played like for some amateur
this
week, Andrew
He played an amateur game in Yorkshire.
Did they put a tweet out saying that they were missing a couple of players and he volunteered to go and play?
Could you imagine turning up and you think, oh, they've got a few out this team. Who they replaced him with, and you look at him.
NRL Premiership.
First of all, you look at him and you're looking at his belly button because that's how big he is. You look up and you see Andrew Fafita.
NRL winning prop forward.
At what stage are you just feeling your hamstring?
I'll start on bench this week, lads. My shoulder's a bit stiff.
There's an amazing mullet in the crowd at Wakefield here.
No, I remember you saying.
Red-haired mullet.
But Cass winning 28 points to 12. A couple of tries that were very, very high quality, and we talked about Austin adding that quality. It was mainly Widdop from full back.
Classic Cass.
But he put Billy Eden over on in the corner with some very, very good
We
hands.
still calling him that after all these years.
Well, it was the worst shout I've ever heard from Phil Clark.
Phil Clark's favourite player, Billy Eden.
Reminded him of
The next Billy Slater.
the next Billy Slater. Big raps.
You are right though, so there was some very nice tries. I liked there was a couple of, I think for one of Billy Eden's tries was a nice little move where Miller got it, took it to the line.
It was a bit of a short side play as well.
Widdop was just looping round them and he managed to get the pass and it allowed
What
Eden to
I
score.
loved about that
was a really nice move.
was as the play broke out, Widdop was hidden almost behind the centre.
Yeah.
And as the centre takes the short ball line, he just then appears.
He was just lurking.
Yeah.
And just popped out.
And very good hands that
That's
we know.
where
he
every good fullback should be.
Yeah.
It's what I said. It's what I said though. Like when I was on about the predictions, they've got such a. Hopefully, Danny Ward with Cass does some good things. I think they do have some good players.
And I'm really
Mill's a good
rooting
one.
for Danny
Widdop's a
Ward
good
to do well at the top level as well.
Eden, I know we're taking him at Billy Eden. He's not that good, but he is a good player. He's not. You know,
Played in the NRL.
He's. You know what I mean? He's a.
Played
So
2 seasons in
they've
the NRL,
got
didn't
the. They've got the players. It's just obviously it didn't click with bad. You know what. Westerman, I think, so good, and in the forwards, it's.
So when you go through the side, they've got Paul McShane, who's a Man of Steel winning 9.
Luke Gale.
Luke Gale.
Sorry, not Luke Gale.
Jordan Turner.
Broadbent, I meant to say, but
Yeah.
he unfortunately
Edwards.
he's out for the season. Broadbent.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and I did rate him. I've rated him since he played for Leeds, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a good young.
I think he's a good
player,
young centre, and he played a bit of fullback for Leeds as well when he first come in. But I really do like Jack Broadbent. I think he's a good young centre. Unfortunately, out for the season. It'll be interesting to see who they put out there.
He's been playing in the centres, as if.
Yeah, he's been playing in the
centres.
centres.
That'll be interesting to see.
So they'll have to finish the season with a new centre partnership.
How many wins do they need to be safe? Realistically, Wakefield.
I think one more.
Wakefield play Salford, Saints, Catalans, Lee, Hull KR.
So it's 3 points now, basically the gap, isn't it? Because
Yeah, the points difference is way off.
I think if you win one more,
I can't see him getting 3 wins.
then Wakefield would need 3 wins probably.
I can't see that happening. Out of 5. They play Catalans at home, Saints at home, and Hull KR at home on the last day.
So do you think that's Wakefield down then now?
Unfortunately, I think so.
Unfortunately, I think so.
Especially if Cass can get one more win.
If they can go to Salford and win, they've not won a game away from home. If they can go to Salford away next week and win, then I could possibly see a way that they stay up. I would still be back in Cass with that superior points difference. But maybe a Saints or a Catalan who go there, rest a couple of players, or do a Lee rest some at home when they've got Wigan the week after. Hull KR might have nothing to play for. They need a lot of things to go right for them.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that new winger for Cass, Wallace. Yeah, I've said a few times.
Is
on
he
it.
the Lebanese?
I don't know. Elliot Wallace.
No,
I don't think he's English. I think he's
signed
But that Lebanese. Is he not? I know what you mean. Is he not acting half? Him?
Yes, he is. Sorry,
He got in the team of the week.
Yeah. So I getting players
His
confused.
name-
They brought in a lot of players.
His
recently.
name escapes me. Oh, they signed loads. They're into like 46, aren't they? With Blake
Yes,
Austin, number
yes.
46. His name escapes me, but he's an acting half.
Oh, is it Charbel Tazipale?
Not him. I didn't mean him. Who got in the team of the week as 9?
So I'll let you have a look at that while we start talking about the next one then. So on Saturday, Lee versus Catalan. First of all, Lee, big crowd on at Billy Sports Village.
Yeah. For a Saturday,
Welcoming back their champions.
I don't mind. I don't mind a Saturday game.
But this is a game that Lee were winning.
Oh, Horn. Yeah, Liam Horn. is the acting half for Cass. They've just signed Liam Horn. He's from Australia. They've signed him from Australia, second division. I'm pretty sure it's the team Ron Smith used to coach. They've signed him
Right.
from.
Right.
Okay. Well, we ended up losing this game 30 points to 14.
They got off to a good start, like you said, they were winning. I think
Winning at half-time.
Amon who crashed over on a inside ball, was
Yeah,
it? Something like that.
yeah. Tom Amon opened the scoring. Catalans then took the lead with 2 tries from Mitch Pearce and Seguier. But Lee scored just on the brink of half time, and you go in at half time going 14-12. There's the fatigue factor. There's the fitness factor of coming back off Wembley, not having a week off, all that stuff that goes with it.
Yeah.
But you're thinking, because you're winning, can we just hang on? Can we get an early try, get to 8 points, and then we could hang on? They weren't able to get any points in that first 10 minutes after the second half started. And you could just see the little bit of intensity just drop, just slightly. And against a team like Catalan, they can then put points on so quickly. And in the space of the next 10 minutes, they get 3 tries.
I was watching this one and I thought to myself, as much as when League were competing and keeping the game, I thought at some point the floodgates are going to open here for Catalan and they'll run off. League won't be able to stay with them after what's just happened.
But they're playing the best team, the best team in the comp. If you look at the league, they're playing the best team in the comp.
Yeah.
Because they're 4 points clear at the top.
4 points clear at the top, yeah. And then, yeah.
If they'd have played anyone else, maybe excusing Wigan and Saints, they might have still had enough. And I think, look, I'm in shock that I'm saying this about, that I'm saying it about Lee. But if they'd played anyone else, that's the one team you don't want to play after a Challenge Cup final. Them 3, Wigan, Saints, Catalans at the moment, the 3 you don't want to play, and they've got unlucky that they've drawn Catalan.
Yeah.
Hull KR are unlucky that they've drawn Saints.
Yeah.
I was so impressed in this game by Tyrone May.
Yeah, good player.
As a 6.
Off to Hull KR?
He ran the show off to Hull KR, yeah. It was announced this week. Maybe playing with a bit more freedom because he knows his future's announced. I don't know. Maybe reading too much into that, but at one point he was linked with Lee himself, and I thought that would be a real statement signing, as it has. Hull KR, good signing for them. They've made a few good signings now, Hull KR.
I'm interested to see how they line up, and we'll do this when we preview the next season.
We can probably do every team and how we think they'll line up, and
but they've
once
got
the recruitment's done.
Some big recruitments in the centres.
But Tyrone May is a big one. He's a classy player, isn't he?
Yeah,
and he can set up a try from nothing.
Be interested to see who Catalan replace him with, because they'll have some money you would expect to look at.
Well, if they keep Pearce, it'll be Farge, won't it?
Yes,
but that's a big if.
Because the rumours is Pearce is off to the Roosters.
That's a big if for Pearce staying.
But the name I keep seeing is Matt Moylan.
Moylan and Farge
would be an interesting halfback
combination. They're very similar, aren't they? Moylan and Farge. I don't mind it though.
No, I wouldn't mind that at all. It'd be very a good.
I wouldn't mind Farge and Pearce actually.
No.
May and Pearce is a good partnership because they bring different qualities.
Yeah. Right, last game. I backed Leeds. You did, Lewis. Did I back Leeds actually?
No, you backed Warrington. We backed Leeds.
Yes, sorry, I went Warrington. Oh.
Yeah, you went for Warrington.
Why did I back them? That's awful.
I can't remember. You said something. Oh, because you said
new coach factor.
The new coach factor. Yeah.
And I was still proven wrong, finding another way to let me down again. Warrington. They lost 24 points to 22. They were 16-12 up, and then in the last 20 minutes, Leeds were able to.
Yeah. Well, they were edging ahead.
Yeah.
And then Leeds kept getting back level, or maybe 2 in front, and Warrington would edge ahead again.
Well, Duffy opened the scoring after 2 minutes. Sam Walters then equalised. A player that I actually keep seeing Leeds fans praise him and then go, I can't believe I'm praising him because he's off to Wigan.
Yeah.
They are really disappointed that
he's doing good things for his current club, though.
He's doing
professionalism, isn't it?
Well, this is the point I was going to make. They're absolutely praising him and then going, "Oh man, we're not getting him next year.
Why have we let him go? Yeah.
We don't get him next year. We're letting him go. I don't want to praise someone that's leaving."
Yeah,
he could do with learning a new try celebration though.
Yeah. The amount he's getting at the moment.
He keeps scoring. He keeps just putting his arms out. That's not a celebration, Sam. Get
Throw up backflips.
get Patrick Mago on the phone. He'll teach you a try celebration.
But then
Sorry, Big Sexy. Get Big,
Big
Sexy,
sexy
on
on
the
the
phone.
phone.
We didn't call him that before, did we?
I know. I thought we got away with it. But then Matty Ashton scores. Ratchford kicked a penalty as well. He then scored his own, but missed his own kick, which ended up being crucial in the fact that they lost by 2 points. Matty Nicholson also scored for Warrington. The tries for Leeds, I forgot my words then. Fossatua,
Excellent try.
brilliant finish.
Excellent finish.
Luke Hule, who played in the 1975 Cup final the week before.
Not wrong again.
I got it completely wrong. Why does 1975 keep coming to my head?
You're about the band.
Yeah, the band.
Have you been listening to the band?
No.
1975.
No.
1975.
Well, that's happened in 1975. What happened in
I
1975?
don't know.
It's not a big date, is it?
No, I feel like that's just my go-to year.
Yeah.
1966, 1804. 10
Uh,
past 2.
As Lewis called it, the Mickey Mouse Cup.
That was him, not me.
That's
Yeah.
but he played the week before.
That's my opinion, don't at me.
And James Bentley. Big interest from the NRL for James Bentley.
I heard this.
Wonder where he'd be going. Wonder who'd want him.
But I don't know. Some team that doesn't give enough penalties away.
They've not seen the disciplinary enough.
Yeah.
Slight improvements from Warrington.
Well,
Or
they
is
could have
that-
won this game at the very last minute. A ball went to Matt Duffy, wasn't
Matt
it? And
Duffy,
he just
yeah.
couldn't.
I'm sorry, shall I not laugh?
Didn't a Warrington fan tweet about Matt Dafty or something? Or was that just autocorrect, do you think? Matt Dafty.
It could be Matt
That's just
Daffy.
calling him daft because he didn't manage to collect the ball. But yeah, he was fingertips. So he could have won it last minute. But no, I think positive. If I was, I forgot his name. Gary Chambers, is it the interim
Assistant,
coach
yeah,
at the minute? The interim coach at the minute. Yeah. If I was him, I'd kind of just be saying to players, look, there's lots of positive. We've gone to Headingley, and we know that going can be difficult. We've put in a very, very good performance. There's things to build off and improve on.
But
And
this
they'll
is
be
not,
looking to take that into next
this
week.
is not a strong Leeds side.
No, but Leeds, when they're fighting for the 6, is a different beast. When
I
Leeds are
suppose so.
fighting to get in the playoffs.
When
At
you've got
Headingley as well.
Headingley,
You've got to
yeah.
put that into account. It's a
Headingley
very
is
difficult
so
place
hard
to
to
go
play.
to.
Headingley.
And they've shown character. They've fought till the end. Could have won it in
This-
the end, but didn't.
this
It's
is-
I would be taking it. If I was Gary again, we've got to. Those players are down, aren't they? They're low on morale. The club's in a bit. The coach has been sacked. He's trying to pick those up, and I think he can walk
He
in at
is.
full time and just say, "Unlucky. You've shown me good character. You didn't give up. We've
Well,
played well. There's positives. Let's take that into next
he
week."
has had 2 weeks to prep that.
I know, but that's only 2 weeks compared to Ron Smith's had 18 months.
I agree, but you're looking at a side. This is what I look at. I always look at the squad numbers and who's picked. Warrington had the 1 to 12 out. Obviously, number 13 was Josh Maguire, who's left the club. No one who was number 14. I can't remember who that would be. Joe Philbin 15. Danny Walker started with the number 16, but Darryl Clark was on the bench.
Yeah.
The number 17 in Gil Dudson. The only one who's not numbered in 1 to 18 is Jordan Crowther. Jordan Crowther, sorry if I pronounced that right.
Yeah, Geordie Crowther. They signed from Wakefield.
And they've got Joe Bullock.
What number is he?
He's number 36.
Yeah, because he signed in mid-season.
He signed in mid-season. But they've got Joe Bullock as the 18th man.
Yeah.
Number 19. There is whoever wears number 14, and I'll let you have a look at that in a minute, but whoever wears that, and
Well,
Josh Maguire not playing.
Well, they've no 13, have they, for Josh Maguire?
That's what I mean. So they're not missing loads. This is as strong as they get. Leeds are missing 5, 6.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I just think with a team who's low on confidence, low on morale at the minute, they've gone to Headingley, they've been competitive and lost, by 2 points. And I think if Gary James goes back in the sheds at full time and says, "You're not good enough, you're still not," I don't think it's going to do any favours. I think there's positives from that game that he can take into the next one.
Obviously, he'll highlight the positives. But
They're in a rut at the
They've
minute,
got-
and
they've got-
they need performances to build
Who-
off to get wins. I think.
Do they make the 6?
Do
Do they make the top 6?
Where are they? They're not in it currently, are they?
They're in 5th.
Big Sam's
They're in
14.
fifth.
Big Sam.
Is he suspended?
He might have been banned.
I'm not worried about.
They're in
contention
5th and
now.
they've got, is it Salford and Hull KR knocking at the door type thing for
Salford, Hull
overtaking.
KR are on the same points.
Yeah.
Leeds are 2 points behind
Leeds
them.
are
Hull
down.
FC are 2 points behind them. Huddersfield are 4. Right. The next 5 games are Hull FC, Cass, Salford, Saints, Huddersfield. All of them could have something to fight for. How many of them are they going to win? Going to Hull FC on a Saturday, I think it is, the 26th. I think Hull are going to turn them over.
Well, they can beat.
And if they get
They
turned
might
over by
turn
Hull...
up. They can beat Hull. I think the one that they're struggling with there is probably Saints. Of those fixtures you just read to me, I think they can beat Hull. Salford they can beat. Who else did you beat? Cass they had in there,
Cass.
who you'd expect them to beat.
Saints at home, Huddersfield away.
And Huddersfield, they could just if they don't make the top 6, obviously I know it sounds obvious, but they've only got themselves to blame.
Yeah.
Like they've got like a run now where
They've
they
won
still
1 in
can
11.
cement the place.
No, but they've got
But
a
that's
good
what
run
I'm
coming
saying.
up.
Though, if you've only won 1 in 11, you're not going to go and get
If you're-
victories
if you're
straight
Cass-
away. They need performances.
If you're
This was
Cass,
a
you are in it
performance.
up.
No, I know.
They've already beat Warrington once.
I know
Yeah.
what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, they're in a rut at the minute. But
If you're saying you're Warrington, you've seen these improvements, you've got those fixtures coming up, you will be thinking, right, we have a chance to make the 6.
yeah, something we can build up is what I'm saying. They've not gone and got battered again, and Garridge's going to go, I don't know what to do, there's nothing right here, and what on earth do we take into next week? He's seen some improvements, he's seen some good play, there's some positives there he can build off and try and get these players out of a rut.
No,
The other thing I was
Warrington.
going to mention though,
Warrington Wolves' original name was Warrington Zingari.
didn't know
I'll
that.
let you look up why that is. Also, the first ever match, they lost 1-0 to Penketh.
Interesting.
1-0.
The one other thing I'm going to say about Warrington now is, I was going to say this for the news, but there's the talk that Burgess is going to get sacked from the Rabbitohs due to some comments he's made. Do you bring him in early now? After you've said that he's not going to come till 24, do you bring him in early?
Good question. And if you do bring him in, well, you can't get rid of Chambers, so you bring him in and they do it together. Seems like a good idea to me, especially if you're keeping Chambers next year as whatever his previous role was, head of youth, wasn't it, or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't see why.
Do you say that?
I
don't see why
you would hang on if he can get over and
But you
start
said
doing his job early.
this is our plan, this is what we're going to do. And then 2 weeks later you go, right, see you later, mate. We're going to bring in the guy who wasn't coming
No,
originally.
you'd have to keep Chambers. You'd have to keep Chambers involved. They'd have to do it together for the rest of the season.
It's an interesting thing to be in.
Yeah. Like I agree with you, Warrington we know are not good. The performances, the results definitely are not good enough for their standing where they should be. But I just think they're in a bit of a turbulent time at the minute.
How much do you put on the players?
Well, not so much this game.
Not so much this
Because
game.
they played all right and they got beat by a good team away from home, where it is a tough place to play, as we've mentioned many times.
But I see Daryl Powell's got all the stick. But Matt Duffy was best fullback in Super League. George Williams was best half in Super League when they won 8 from 8. Paul Vaughan was
still true.
That one's still true, but Paul Vaughan was best prop in Super League. I'm trying to think of
They
other
must be
players.
the only team to win 8 in a row and then lose 8 in a row in the same season.
So
Must be.
that's on the players have got a lot of stake and the culture there, rather than just Daryl Powell wasn't the right man.
I think Daryl Powell though didn't help in that culture he was creating there. I go back to last night, I know I've talked about this numerous times on the podcast, I know I'm getting a bit repetitive here. But, you know, towards the end of last season, especially when he started, well, it wasn't towards the end, it was more mid-season because then he's changed his script towards the end of the season. But he called the players out and just said they can't do what I'm asking them to do, they're not good enough, whatever. Then tried to flip it and, you know, I think we're in a good place, I think there's positives to take. And,
Yeah.
you know, Kyle Amor, when he went on loan, didn't he, towards the end of that last season, he's talked about it since, and he was saying, you know, I went into a club and changing rooms which were really low on motivation, really low in terms of morale and just general mood around the place.
I mean, the fact
that's
that
why it
even-
gets hard for Gary Chiefs. Like you said, he's only had 2 weeks, and he's
Yeah.
trying to change all that. He's only had 2 weeks to do it. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks.
The fact they even had to go and get Kyle Amor on loan. I mean, how can a team like Warrington, with all the money they've spent,
Have to go and pick players up on
have to go and get bodies, just desperate for bodies on loan for the rest of the season?
So there's also, don't get me wrong, maybe the players, of course, some players have to take responsibility. You're a professional at the end of the day, and some players will know that their performances aren't good enough. I thought George Williams last week, he got called over from Sky Sports to speak, and I thought he spoke very honestly and very well, and he didn't really try and hide behind anything. He said it weren't good enough. He said that they had a soft underbelly. He said that we're hurting and we're working hard to try and put it right. And
going off that then, they have to get Sam Burgess in now so he can decide who he wants to keep and get rid of.
It might be a bit late for that.
It might be.
I think Burgess coming in as well, just have a bit of a obviously with Gary Chambers in now, he's got a very hard job to do because he's got, well, I'm here guys, I've only got a couple of, another couple of games with you, whatever. Then Sam Burgess if Burgess can come in now and say, right, this is the reset. This has all gone on. You know what's happening now. I'm here. You know you've got me next season. I'm here to stay.
A bit of get on board now.
Yeah, we go now. This is we thought we were going to start next season. We're privileged to have an early start and kick on from now. We can still make the top 6. Let's start building towards next season starts now, if you like, almost. And I feel like that, because he's sticking about as well, can help me to pick, and it might just create a little bit of a reset, positive atmosphere back in the club.
Right, that wraps up Super League. We'll take a quick break, then we'll come back and look at the news and fly through the NRL. Thank you. So, thank you for joining us again to look at, firstly, a little bit of news and then the NRL. First bit of Wigan news is the comments from Matty Pete over 2 potential contract renewals. The first one being Ryan Hampshire. He's obviously discussed about Wigan's desire to keep Rocky. He's said that in an ideal world we'd have him here with us in a role because he brings so much to the club. But he's also pointed out that we have to get the balance right between the squad depth and the salary cap management. And at the moment we're not able to make a commitment to Rocky. And Matty Pete was quite open and honest and said that everyone's preference is for him to stay, but we're yet to make a decision. They're not easy conversations to have because he needs security and he knows that he's able to look elsewhere if there was an option for him. But I would happily keep Ryan Hampshire. I would love to see him at the club because of the depth that he gives us and that squad depth. And
well, he actually said, Pete, I'm not sure if it's on that one there, but on Wigan Today that I've read, he actually said when our reserves run against our ones, the reserves have got Cade Cust and Ryan Hampshire leading them round, and that's actually really, really good half-back pairing, and they actually play really well in those training games.
And you wouldn't be far off with a half-back pairing of them two in Super League.
No, and for those to be your backups, yeah, very blessed.
If you're Cade Cust and if you're Ryan Hampshire, looking at the performance on the weekend, you must be...
But that's exactly what Matty Pete said.
Yeah, you must be a little bit disappointed that you're not getting a game.
I can see this from both sides. I can see the club wanting to keep him for squad depth, but I can also see Hampshire who's probably thinking, what's he played 2 games for us this season? Did he play 3? So he's probably thinking,
but obviously,
more first team.
Like Matty Peters said, he knew what he was coming into the club to do. He knew he was coming in probably to be 3rd choice fullback.
And off an ACL tear as well.
Yeah, 4th choice 6. 3rd choice halfback. Sorry.
Do you think if Cade Cust goes down with the injury, and that he did early doors,
and Hampshire was fit
against Catalan, wasn't it? And Hampshire was fit, we would have moved Field into the halves, or do you think Hampshire would have been picked? It's that whole butterfly effect.
Well, what will
you don't
definitely
get a great
say,
player to Miskey.
What I will definitely say is if he was fit when Field gets injured at Lee,
he'd have played against St Helens.
He'd have played against St Helens, but he wasn't fit at that point, or he was just about getting to fitness.
When Shorrocks filled in.
When Shorrocks filled in. Then Shorrocks fills in, you've got French in the at fullback doing well, and you're basically waiting 2 or 3 weeks for Hampshire. Do you change it?
I think it's a weird one, that half-back, because obviously we seem like, which is right, because again I've talked about consistency of your spine before, we're going with this combination of French, 6, Smith, 7. Powell's back now and O'Neill's been playing well, so that could mean we have 3 forwards and O'Neill on the bench if Powell is there starting now. And it is a question of, well, where does that leave Hampshire and where does it leave Cust as well? Yeah. Because that's 2 half-backs there that are struggling to get into the starting 13 or the 17 really.
And this is the thing, right? You can carry Joe Shorrocks on the bench, who could do you a job in the props, has played in the halves and could fill in at 9 because he's done it before. Cade Cust on the bench gives you an option of,
Everyone in the entire back 7 plus 9,
yeah,
basically. Miskey gets injured, Cade Cust can come on. King gets injured, Cade Cust can come on. So
yeah,
on, so forth.
and you move a couple of people around.
Yeah. Ryan Hampshire would probably do the same thing.
Hampshire would do the same off the bench, but he doesn't give you the option of 9.
No, that's why I don't think they would do it.
Do you play Sam Powell? He gives you that leadership option, but you could start O'Neill and play.
And Leeming's coming in next season, who's another 9.
It's unbelievable options, and in an ideal world we keep everyone, but the cap doesn't allow it, and maybe if Wigan...
The cap doesn't allow us to keep everyone and also bring in...
December held on improved wages and these young academy players to improve their wages. Obviously we've got Bateman off the wages.
I think to be honest, the Bateman money...
I think the Bateman money is now spent.
Is spent on people like Ellis.
Yes, getting improved contracts.
Who else has improved the contract? Havard, O'Neill.
Yeah, they've all got these improved contracts, but
What's
December's going to be on an improved one soon.
Yeah, and December will be
bringing
back
Adam Kieran in,
next
who will
the
replace with
pipeline.
Toby King.
Does it not? Because I know you say ideally they'd like to keep all these players in. Just a question to you both: does it bother you that we've got Cade Cuss not playing and he's taking up an overseas quarter spot and he's not getting into the 17?
Depends who's available.
If you were bringing, we had this issue with the Basmiski last year when he was not the starting winger.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
If you're gonna,
If there's no one else there, let's say we're going to bring in an overseas player and Mago leaves. You don't want to get anyone else. It's not an issue.
yeah, or even if you want to bring in, for example, Sam Walters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if Willie Isa leaves and Sam Walters comes in. You've got an extra quarter
But
spot.
doesn't actually,
You don't have to spend it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
it only brings an issue having Cust not in the 17
If
in
you
terms
want
of
to-
quarter spots.
If you want to sign someone who would take one up, which I
Yeah.
don't think we do at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're done. I'm waiting to see outgoings to see if we're going to make any more incomings. But as it stands,
This brings on the next player, Mike Cooper.
I think we might be done. Mike Cooper, yeah.
So go on, mention him, and then I'll go back to that.
Pete's been talking about Mike Cooper as well.
Yeah.
And he said he would like him to still be a Wigan player when he returns. Someone we want to keep. His recovery is going outstandingly well. He's so committed. We had a meeting today and his name came up about how well he's applied himself. Apparently he's been at St George's Park, which is in the Midlands. It's a England football base, to do his rehab. Looking in great shape, committed. Yeah, he says he's a player that next year will come back very determined, fit and ready to make another impression. So
He's another one of our leaders, Mike Cooper, isn't he?
A leader.
He
I
talks a lot
noticed-
in the sheds. He's good on his vocal in the field.
Yeah.
He seems to be a bit of an experienced leader in it.
I noticed he was the one doing the talking when I was in St Lucia. Actually, I was watching the Good Friday game on TV.
Yeah, I remember you saying
He
that.
was the one doing the talk, doing a lot of the talking, and that's one of the reasons I was worried about his injury.
Yeah.
That he was a leader. So I think that one to me.
But another one in that
I think,
situation is
yeah.
Willie Isa. 2 major injuries, and we don't know how he's going to return.
Yeah,
If
there'll be a decision made on both of them.
Is Ice right for the season?
Pretty
No,
much.
pretty
He said multiple months.
Right,
So-
so
after being out for multiple months,
It's
Yeah,
it probably is. He said
you're not going to
months
throw him
rather
into
than
a
weeks.
semi or grand final, then,
No.
which is a miss when you've got
unless there's a
players
major
on stage.
injury.
Yeah, unless you have to, yeah.
Yeah.
So you sort of sat thinking, well, who do you bring in? If Isa's contract is done, then you're going to have a quarter spot anyway.
Yeah.
So why would you get rid of
Well,
Cust
and-
to free up a quarter spot when you've already got one free?
Yeah,
anyway?
no, it's a,
And we don't
it's
know
a fair
if
point, yeah.
we don't know if Mago is.
Yeah, that's a
You
bit.
couldn't, if them 3 don't carry on, you could have 3 quarter spots and not be using them.
Yeah.
Not use any of them.
So you then might as well keep one.
Well,
Yeah.
hang on. No, because Kieran needs one.
Kieran will take one, doesn't he?
Kieran's the only player we've signed who will take one. So one of those 3 players is leaving guaranteed.
Yeah. It's just which one.
The other players might leave as well, and we just don't spend them because the other signings we've made do not require quarter spots.
Yeah.
I do think
So it'd be interesting to see outgoings. Who's going and
outgoings are interesting. I do think we're probably, even if there are no more outgoings, we might just be prop light. Maybe.
Is that assuming Cooper stays on?
Assuming
I don't
Cooper's-
think so.
No,
Cooper, Ellis,
Byrne, Havard.
Dupree.
When I
Dupree,
did
Hill.
that squad number
Hill.
thing, I hadn't put Dupree in, well, I'd left a gap for a prop. So that left, so let's
Walters.
say Dupree, Byrne,
Chan.
Cooper, Ellis, Havard. You calling Chan a prop? Hill. 6, maybe 7 if you include Chan / Walters. So I think we're okay. Maybe we're okay in props then if we've got 6. Maybe it's a standoff we need. Maybe
Then you're gonna play French on the wing and drop Miski.
I don't know. I don't know what he wants to do.
And we're asking the same question again. Then how do you get Miski into a team? We probably don't.
Well, you don't need to. Miski might be your perfect third winger.
But
I don't know.
A quarter spot on a player and not getting in your 17.
I don't mind that though.
I don't. But
Because we'd have 2 spare.
Because I don't believe that your 7 quarter players have to play.
You see, if we don't retain Ian Thornley, we need a centre
Yes.
because we'd only have 2.
Yeah, and you lose Pierce Paul and Dyser, who filled in there.
Jacob Douglas has been tipped for great things, but it's probably too soon for him.
Eckersley, he's been playing on loan.
Eckersley, yeah. So I think probably if you are going to lose Ian Thornley, you need another centre.
Right. The big news, though, announced this morning, actually, of the new Sky TV deal. Matty, you've looked into the details of this.
Yeah, well, here's the statement. It's pretty short, and they did say they're going to be sharing more details after the negotiating period is fully over, but the RFL have released this statement today. They've said, following a meeting of RL Commercial, IMG and Super League shareholders, RL Commercial will now enter a 30-day exclusive negotiating period with Sky Sports to formalise and contract the broadcast rights agreement. This follows a period of activity in the market that saw multiple bids tabled for the rights, with all stakeholders convinced Sky Sports are offering the best deal for the Super League competition. It would see the partnership with Sky Sports extend for a further 3 years until the end of the 2026 season, which would include the 30th anniversary of the launch of Super League's partnership with Sky for 1996. Under the proposed deal, this is the big bit, boys, the partnership will include the live broadcast of every Super League fixture to the UK and worldwide, a transformative development for the competition. This would also allow for video match officials to be appointed for every match.
So can we just stop the statement?
Well, there's only one more sentence.
Oh, go on.
There will also be the continuation of a free-to-air window, which is what you asked me about earlier, Lewis, about the Channel 4 games. They would continue to take place.
Right. So Channel 4 keep games on free-to-air TV.
Yes.
Benefit. Games being staggered. We had this discussion.
We're presuming games being staggered. They could be on the red button, but
Could be on the red button.
Right now, we're presuming just because of the amount of full-time referees we've got, we're assuming these games are going to be staggered.
So I see that as a game on Thursday,
Yeah.
a game on Friday,
Those 2 are guarantees.
2 on Saturday, if not 3.
You want your Saturday lunchtime, Channel 4, and perhaps your Catalan in Saturday evening.
R5.
You could have one in between.
Could you have one at 3 o'clock? Could you have a late kick-off at 8 on a Saturday? I don't know. Maybe an option.
And maybe
You'd have
2 on.
Maybe 2 on Sunday to compete with not compete with Super Sunday, but when the football season's off, could you have
You could definitely do a Super Sunday.
a Super Sunday style rugby league?
You
show?
could just if your second game was Leeds at home, you could just do the whole thing from Headingley, for example, and you could
Just
just.
had plenty of places like Wigan.
No, you could do it at every ground. What I'm saying is that was Headingley was an example.
Yeah.
Wherever the second ground is, you do everything there. You talk about both games from there, like they do in the football.
The only thing is the match callers, and you just have a different match caller.
Well, yeah, that's how they do it in football, isn't it? Because this Sunday just gone, it was the second game on there, West Ham.
Yes.
So they did the whole thing from West Ham, and then they did the early game, Everton, and the pundits were all West Ham.
Now, there's talk about it being for less money. Now, there's 2 issues to that.
Less money per game, we think.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It may be an overall more money. It might be less, because there isn't any details on that.
I haven't seen any.
But if it's more money but less per game, I understand that because they're going to have to facilitate big screens at every game, as it stands, with the way that it works.
Have we been to any grounds this year that haven't had a big screen?
Leeds have got one.
I couldn't.
Does Salford have one?
Who?
Salford?
I don't know. We've not been to Salford this year, have we? We're playing. I
don't think Salford
I don't
do.
remember them having one last year. I don't remember Cass got one.
I can't remember.
Wakey do, and it's
Wakey
new.
do.
It's a new one at Wakey. We remember seeing that. Maybe a big screen is an IMG category thing.
I think there might be an argument to be made here that even if it is less money overall, when you sum it up, is the sport ready to try to take a hit with money to get the sport out there? Because more rugby league on our screens can attract more people to the game, which then can allow the sport to grow.
But here goes, right? Is it? Because if it ends up being more money but just less per game, you still get the same percentage. Does it really affect your team if you're on TV or not? Really, monetary wise? I don't think it can have that. You'll get less people watching, but by staggering the games, the Sky viewing figures are going to look better. Because on a Thursday night, Friday night, if Wigan play the Thursday, and I'm probably going to watch a game on Friday because I'm doing nothing. One of the games on Saturday. If not, I'll watch the highlights of it or record it and watch it on Sky later
we'd probably end up watching all of them eventually.
Yeah. I watch both games on Sunday because I'd rather watch rugby league than football.
Yep.
But personally,
Yep.
Now you might have a drop off from other fans if Liverpool are playing and you're a Liverpool fan. You don't want to watch Wakefield versus Huddersfield. I'm trying to pick random games off the top of my head.
No, I know what you mean.
But you're going to get the fans that are at games watching the games that aren't on.
And that's a common thing across sport,
All
isn't
sport.
it? Sport's always like golf might be on if it's the Open, it will be on UK time, PGA Tour, and someone might be wanting to watch the football game that's on main event, and
But
do you know?
I
I
want to have a hat in that ring.
Yeah,
that
more
argument.
rugby league on our screens is only a good thing.
Nothing frustrates me more than going on Sky Sports on a Friday or a Saturday morning, knowing there's an NRL game taking place, and instead they're showing highlights from some grand final years ago.
Yeah.
You've scheduled this to be rugby league time. Just put the game on.
Yeah.
And I get the NRL, we might have to pay. We've only got 2 games a week, haven't we? But if we were doing this, there are times when on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon we just play grand final gold. Just put the game on.
And the other thing
Instead of the
that
game.
winds me up with this,
Sky Sports
and I
Arena,
think
Sky Sports Mix. It's got enough channels.
I think this will be a benefit when every game is televised, is the highlights in the NRL. They're on 20 minutes after the game's finished.
So the highlights are on 20 minutes after the game on YouTube, free play.
Yeah.
Then the next day there's a condensed game which is 15 minutes,
Yeah.
free on YouTube. The day after that, the
The whole
entire broadcast is on YouTube for free.
And I think that's a positive.
You make
But
so
look-
much money on adverts if you do
But
that.
look at how many NRL, how many times someone scores an unbelievable try in the NRL, and it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, being shared around. I can't even see who scored in a game that I'm not watching for like 20 minutes.
There was a time this year where I was trying to work out who was winning out of St Helens and Salford, because St Helens' Twitter account had St Helens in front, Salford had Salford in front, and Flashscore had it as a draw.
So I just think having it more accessible, we might have to take a hit to see the positive. Super League might get a hit of what's the word, of less monetary value. But in the long run, I can't see a negative to this. I really can't.
No, more rugby league on our screens is a good thing. I don't see how you can say it. And again, IMG being involved in that process and decision making, they're the ones who are taking the game. They're the one with the plan. I trust them to make a decision which is going to help the sport as a whole.
And I'm really upset with some people today saying, "Oh, it's less money. That's just IMG. They're pointless. They're doing the wrong thing. They're just as bad as anybody else."
Look at what Wakefield have done. They've actually gone and improved the ground after
know.
all this time because of IMG.
Yeah, but the other point is, this deal today, IMG might have been present, but it's based on the last 27 years of Sky Sports having rugby league coverage. It's not based on the last 12 months that IMG have actually had any control.
Yeah.
All IMG have done is take control about 12 months ago. Not even that, I don't think, because I remember it was definitely in school time when they took over. Then they've laid out these guidelines. Some teams have started to improve based on them, and that's it. How they've affected viewing figures or not affected viewing figures, how people think that they're responsible for this one way or the other.
But at the end of the day, the clubs have agreed to try IMG's proposals.
Yeah.
So if they were evil and not good and IMG didn't care about the sport or whatever,
The club
then
could have voted
the
against
club
them.
wouldn't have voted with it.
Exactly.
Like they've agreed,
For
and
me,
everyone in
IMG
rugby league is saying this is a good idea.
For me, IMG and what they're planning to do isn't something you can judge now. It's something we're going to look back in 10 years' time
Yeah.
and go, they got it right, or they got it wrong.
People just got to stop judging IMG based on the last 9 months of them, actually.
Super League and Rugby League as a whole, in my opinion, has always looked for quick fixes. We see it in clubs when they're in a relegation battle. They sign someone dead quick to fix things. When you're pushing for the top 6, bring in an Aussie and they can fix it.
Yeah.
This for once is a change of someone looking long term and saying we might take a hit now, but in the long run, I think it'll work.
I listened to an Out of Your League podcast. It was a couple of, I know they've done it. It wasn't a this season one. It was a couple of years ago. But it was with Brian Noble when he was in charge of Toronto, and he was talking about Toronto and like the building over there and stuff. And obviously, I don't want to get off tangent to this, but he just made a point which I think is good to this point. He said, "You can't have, the same teams competing in the same competitions. We've done everything the same for how many years, and the game is not pushing forward. But we're expecting, it's like definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expect a different result." He said, like, we're doing all the same all the time. The game's not growing. Like, if we want to grow it, we're going to have to do changes.
I've seen comments today, and it's really wound me up. Blaming Wigan, Saints and Leeds for the death of Rugby League because teams are winning, the same teams winning the same things. What? So they should back down and stop winning things so other teams can? Well, that's going to make Rugby better.
I know, but those three teams, Leeds, Wigan, Saints, how many clubs now, no disrespect, lesser clubs, are probably full of players from their academy and who they brought through the system. Like,
great point. I've been making for years.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that we've done, and they're full of those players who.
I'll also do some research into
those
that.
three academies prop up the rest of this division.
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
So they idea we've killed the game. Absolutely no, if not, because people are benefiting from it. It's
Daft.
It's a ridiculous.
Not even just Super League, because a lot of them drop down divisions and drop down.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It was weird the other day when I looked at last year when Toulouse were playing and I went, "Oh, Joe Bretherton's playing.
Joe Bradison, yeah.
He's playing Toulouse."
Yeah, he still plays for us.
Yeah.
He scored today, actually.
I just the reason they're successful is because they've invested in the right things and done the right things.
Toulouse knew, I don't know if they signed Joe Bretherton right from Wigan, but let's just say Toulouse knew that when they were getting Joe Bretherton, they were getting someone who came through the academy at Wigan, so they were going to get a professional player who is going to work hard and is going to be talented.
Develop the
same
right
when
way.
you sign anyone from Leeds or Saints academies. Blake Austin was talking about Leeds Academy, wasn't he? Saying it was fantastic.
Yeah.
If you're from the West Yorkshire area, why
Wasn't
would
his quote that
he said,
the
why
rugby
would
kid wins the Castleford Academy?
yeah,
or
he
the
said
Leeds one?
he said if you got a kid who's talented at rugby league from West Yorkshire, why would you not go into the Leeds Academy?
Where are you going to develop best?
Exactly.
So we're all happy with the news.
Yeah, well, Rugby League on our screens is good.
Yeah.
I don't know, I keep repeating that, but I can't say you can say anything different.
100% is the right.
It's good, and I'm glad Channel 4 are going to get some. I like that coverage. I like it's freer, and that's going to hopefully draw more people into
I would
the
expect
game.
them to get more.
The only thing is,
imagine if Channel 4 got an every week Saturday 12 kit.
no, that would be good. That would be very good. I think they only have 10 or 11 usually. But if they had 23, for example, like one every week. The only thing that I want more from Sky Sports, which wouldn't cost them really anything, is if you're going to have these games, especially when it's unopposed, Thursday night I'm thinking about, it's only going against the Darts, as you said before, Lewis, and even then that's not every week all year. Or perhaps the Saturday lunchtime slot, it's opposed by the BT football game, but nothing on Sky Sports. Advertise the Super League being on.
Yeah.
Because even in this, this whole Greatest Show style advert they've got going on at the minute, where it shows the Ryder Cup and it shows, there's very rarely any rugby league in it, which perhaps could be because they didn't know they were going to retain the rights.
But I think this is the thing though. If they got more,
if they've got
TV,
more games on, hopefully
they have to promote it themselves.
Promote it, put more adverts on, saying actually, because not everyone's going to say, "Oh, is there any football on?" No. Well, is there any cricket on? And flick through all the channels like that and think, "Oh, actually, there's some live rugby league on. I'll watch that." People would do that if they knew it was there.
Get it on main event if there's nothing else on.
Yeah, well, yeah, that won't happen, but they should do. They put the transfer show on main event.
Yeah.
I don't know why you wouldn't just do. I mean, you might as well do a channel for every sport at this rate. But we seem to get Sky Sports Arena /action
Depending on what's free.
/mix, depending on what's available at the time, which is fine.
Could they not just have a Sky Sports Rugby and have both the league and union stuff?
Well, they could just have Sky Sports Rugby League, Sky Sports Rugby Union, Sky Sports Cricket, Sky Sports F1, whatever.
Yeah. Right. Should we have a talk about the NRL? There's been a few big talking points. Started off with the Cowboys losing to the Sharks. I think that puts the Sharks firmly in the top 8.
Well, did we talk about this game last week?
No. Oh, we
But
might have done actually.
We'd watched it, but we hadn't talked about it. Is that right?
Yeah. Very impressive, the Sharks, looking back to the best. That young halfback that they brought in, I don't know how old he is.
Tricky, his name, Tricky Trindle.
Braden Trindle. Been very impressed with him. He's freed up Nico Hines and the fullback to be as influential as they are.
I know. Yeah.
Nico Hines looks to be improving his form after obviously he come back from Origin and didn't
He
really
struggled.
kind of kick on us before he left for Origin camp, but he seems to be back up to scratch now. Well, past scratch, back up to his best, should I say?
Yeah.
And putting some good performances.
Still think he's got another level to go
last,
to.
in this last push. You need him playing well.
Now this is a game, next one, the Warriors versus the Sea Eagles. Something really, really controversial has happened. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but the injury to Ruben Garrick. So I'll set the scene for you. It's 22-22. Cherry Evans has a shot at drop goal. Chas Nickel-Cockstad has charged it down. The ball bounces up in the air.
Yes, I know what you're saying.
Ruben Garrick is the fullback for Manly and he's sat behind Cherry Evans waiting. Nickel-Cockstad runs towards the ball. Garrick charges towards the ball. Garrick puts a jump in. Nickel-Cockstad doesn't. He doesn't make a genuine attempt, but I can understand the issue from Chas not knowing whether he's just going to keep his height so he can tackle him. He then jumps and he can't get out of the way. But Nickel-Cockstad hits the hips of Ruben Garrick in the air. He then goes over, lands on his back, puts the ball down. It's not a penalty for a tackle in the air because the ball has bounced. I have no issue with that.
No, I think the reason for that rule is that otherwise you just jump all the time.
Yeah, you
Because
jump into contact
Because
to get
then
tackled in
anyone
the air.
would tackle you would be tackled in the air. So I get that.
What I don't understand
I do
is
think though that this was
reckless
well,
or endangering an opponent
It tipped him
to the horizontal.
to
It wasn't over the horizontal,
but only just.
only just. But then that's the line that they draw. The issue I have is Ruben Garrick is absolutely broken. He's back. I don't know the severity of the back break. I'm a little bit annoyed at Manly because they actually kept him on the field and they made a break about 30 seconds later, did the Warriors, and you saw him trying to move and it looked excruciating.
Yeah, you phoned.
I rang you up to say, have you seen him move there? He couldn't move.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony Seibold, the Manly coach, in his post-match press conference was absolutely fuming.
Furious.
And he made some points where he said, we'll penalise the slightest pressure on the neck in a crusher tackle, or a contact around the neck, or the chin, the jaw, whatever, for high tackles. This one, a guy's in the air, he's had his legs swept from underneath him, come crashing down, which is more dangerous than what we'll penalise people with a slight bit of pressure, but we're not going to penalise this. Now, like you just said there, Tom, under the rules, because it was a bouncing ball, there is no rule against that.
This is the issue. If you're penalising him, what you're penalising him for, and Cherry Evans, to be fair, listens to his explanation and goes, okay. I think it was harsh to call a knock-on against Ruben Garrick.
Your penalty there would be for putting him in a dangerous position. I think if you were to do a tip tackle where you pick somebody up, didn't French get a 1-game ban for picking somebody up, putting him at the horizontal but not over, and then just letting him go and land on his back? I think that's probably what you'd give a penalty for. Endangering. It's not a yellow card or a red card because he hasn't tackled him in the air technically, and also he hasn't tipped him over the horizontal. But he's put him in a dangerous position through his actions, and he's caused him an injury through his actions.
Yeah.
So it
But then-
probably should be a
I
penalty.
understand why Seabold's fuming. But I
Yeah,
can understand
I
why
would-
the ref's not giving anything, because technically it's a bit like the Asiata situation, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no rule against it, but
It doesn't look right.
No.
It just didn't look right.
No, it looked like there should have been a penalty shot
And-
for them, and they probably would have got 2 points.
Manly left him on
Although
the field.
Garrick's the goal kicker, isn't he? So
Yeah,
He's going to pick himself
I think I
up.
could kick it from there.
Well, yeah, it was under the sticks, but you've got to pick yourself up and kick that goal.
Well, Manley should never have left him on the field. He's broke his back. I don't know whether that's a broken vertebrae or what, because I've not read into the details. But when he tried to chase Nikora down 2 minutes later, he couldn't get out of first gear.
This game had 2 hat-tricks. One for the fastest man in rugby league, Jason Saab.
Probably one of the easiest hat-tricks of his life.
Yeah, and one for Lionel.
He's now joint top. Is he joint top of the try scoring stats?
Lionel?
But he's played about 5 games less.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's played about 16 games, I think. He's either 1 try behind or something like that. But he's right up there for the try scoring.
He's been... it feels like we talk about him scoring every week, doesn't it? He's been fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Now, the next big game to talk about, the Eels versus the Roosters. The Roosters winning 34 points to 12. This means the Eels can't get the top 8.
No. They can't get the top 8 unless they beat Penrith by 40 points and somebody else wins by 40 points and somebody else loses by 37.
It's effectively written out.
It's basically done. So they've stopped taking bets on it. But somebody was tweeting saying, "Oh, what about this situation?" Being clever, you know.
But the Roosters have got the West Tigers next week. If they win, the Rabbitohs have the bye, so an automatic 2 points.
Yeah.
Last game of the season, the Rabbitohs versus the Roosters. It will be it'll be a great story for the Book of Feuds. 2 teams that hate each other to make the 8. Completely different seasons. The Roosters were shocking to start with and have improved. The Rabbitohs brilliant at the start but falling off a cliff. There's talks with the Rabbitohs, and in fact, we might as well mention that game now. They played on the Sunday against the Knights and lost 29 points to 10. They were just nowhere near good enough. Latrell gets a sin bin because he decided to dive on Tyson Frizzell's head.
The game was over as well.
Game over in the 80th minute.
This was not a good act. A man who's already tackled an Origin team.
Like a bit of an elbow to the
Already
back of the head,
tackled.
wasn't it?
They had a bit of an argument before and hadn't they?
Macho man Randy Savage, elbow to the back of the head from height.
But he's got a 2-game ban. He used his early guilty plea to get it down to 1, so he's going to miss this extra game.
Yeah.
He's going to miss the game against
If this
the
was
Roosters.
Super League, he'd be banned for the bye and he'd be back for the Roosters game. You just know that. You just know if Super League brought bye weeks in that you could just have a ban for that bye week. It was interesting. Latrell's got a lot of stick this week. Interesting actually that his brother scored in this game.
Yeah, first try ever.
Shaq Mitchell.
First try in the
And
NRL.
some people were saying, yeah, get Shaq Mitchell and he might bring the best out of Latrell. Latrell's got a lot of stick this week. Number one for the Frizzell hit, which was a terrible act, especially when the game's game's over and lost. But he's getting more stick for going on stage with Luke Combs on Thursday night.
Well, now with
Cody
Walker
I think
as well.
Cody went up as well. Somebody else did, definitely. Going on stage with Luke Combs, who's a country music artist that a lot of the players are a fan of, and a lot of Wigan Australian contingent of fans of Luke Combs as well, I believe. But he went on there and shotgunned a beer on stage.
It was Thursday night. They played on Sunday.
I can't believe that people are more upset with Latrell for shotgunning a beer with Luke Combs rather than dropping on somebody's head.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Being banned to play the Roosters in a must-win
Being
game.
banned for the Roosters in a must-win match.
He's got that in Latrell, hasn't he? He's got that bit of a temper and he's got a bit of a kind of...
And I think he's a bit...
aggression sometimes spills over and he can't control it.
Maybe the media have got to him a bit this year as well, talking about him. He can't win big games, he doesn't do it when it matters and all this. Like, he does seem the sort of player that would take that and try and say, well, I'll prove him wrong.
But for me, when I look at the Rabbitohs, he's the guy that wins you the comp. Walker, Ilias, Murray, Cook get you into a position and he's the icing on the cake. He's your £1 million man to win you the big game.
I've seen a lot of criticism. This is purely from a rugby league standpoint rather than like a moral one, like Mitchell's criticism is for Lachlan Ilias. People saying they've got rid of Reynolds for Lockie Ilias, and it hasn't worked. A lot of the Rabbitohs fans are pretty fed up with Ilias now.
He's a bit passive in games at the moment.
Well, he does seem to just rely a lot on Cody, but Cody's the main man in that team. He runs everything. Ilias is there just more to facilitate Cody, I think.
Well, we'll talk about the Rabbitohs. We mentioned it slightly earlier, but now talks that they're going to sack John Morris and Sam Burgess, the assistant coaches.
This is such a weird
because
one. It's such a weird team, the Rabbits, man.
Because they've been critical of John. Is it John Demetriou?
Jason
Demetriou.
He played in Super League for a long time
Yeah.
with Wakefield.
Basically saying that he doesn't have the nerve to call out the big players like Latrell, like Cody, and says they get away with a lot. They've both been critical of him apparently to the board, and now they're going to sack him. I just don't.
You don't know if that's true. It is
It's being spread around the
rumour being spread at the minute that that's going to happen. It just seems a bit of shambles at this club, and you said that if they make the 8 they can still win it, and I agree with that. And I think if they can just get over the line against the Roosters, they'll be guaranteed top 8, won't they? So if they can just get over the line against the Roosters, dysfunctional though they are, you wouldn't write them off.
Definitely
Just
not.
ridiculous, I think, like we said about the start of the season. Who would have thought it?
When they went top,
however many games in, you would have never could have told me, they'll be, there's a chance I'm not making the 8. I'd have been like, not making the 8. I'm thinking they're going to win it. Like, never mind.
Win everything.
Yeah, never mind. Not make the 8. So it's incredible how their season's just, like you said, fell off a cliff.
Now, a team that started off a bit slower but have just hit red hot form and the best team in the comp. Penrith beat the Gold Coast 40 points to 14.
Oh, you've missed a game there. I thought you were talking about the West Tigers.
Oh, sorry,
They did start slow, but they also won this weekend, beat the Dolphins 24-23.
Yeah. So I can't believe I missed that game.
It doesn't matter.
Have you
Everybody
seen
else missed it.
Appy's match-winning conversion?
Appy got a...
Yes.
Yeah.
So they were 23-22 down.
Okay.
Well, they scored a try, but they needed to convert it. They were losing by 1 and he needed to convert the try.
Oh, right, no, sorry, I thought it was a penalty.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Because they were 22-14 up.
Oh, yeah, it was a penalty, yeah. Because he kicked the drop goal on 74.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that.
And this penalty has hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
So it was dropping short, just landed on top of the crossbar and bounced over.
It was a good way out
Yeah.
near the touchline. And it
Just enough on it.
Just enough on it, yeah.
Very, very good kick. From a guy who's not a designated kicker, really. I think myself.
I don't think about it. There was one interesting thing from this game. You must have seen this. Luke Brooks. It was his last home game.
Yeah, after
Lewis, have you seen this?
No,
Tom's groaned there because he knows what's coming. Luke Brooks, it was his last home game for the West Tigers.
9 years at the West Tigers?
Since he was a junior, I suppose. He's leaving for Manly. They did a presentation for him before the game. And they presented him with his very own...
Wait. A leaving present. What would you want?
Oh, sorry.
A thank you for all your service. 9 years, I think, at the West Tigers. What do you want?
Thank you.
What do you want?
Parade, maybe a bit of a guard of honour, clap as I'm walking out to the ground, something like that, maybe.
He got a barbecue.
Wow.
He got his very own
And there's a
barbecue.
There's a very funny... Apparently, because
It wasn't even a good barbecue. It was like one of them you get for 50 quid at the range.
apparently it's because he
likes
did an
cooking.
interview where he said like cooking has released the stress of playing NRL for him.
Right,
But in this, if you watch the interview,
He does like cooking, he says.
you can actually see like he shakes a couple of people's hands and then he's looking around to see if it's a joke and he opens it as if something's going to jump out at him and then he looks, there's nothing there and he just like turns around and smiles.
The good news is though that
Can the West Tigers get anything right?
the West Tigers have been given notice this week that the barbecue will not count against the cap. So rival clubs are pleased. It's a black beefeater big bug, which retails for $1,000.
Oh wow!
Wow, really? Special message for Brooks, who spent 11 years at the club and is just the 5th player to represent them 200 times.
Wow.
We all know Luke loves cooking. He said so much during a podcast. Instead of giving him a ball or a signed jersey, why not give him something he will use? Well, that's true, but
You could just give him it as well.
yeah, you could have.
You could have put a match ball in there that was signed by the team and just a joke of a club.
Yeah, but they did win. To be
Yeah.
fair to them, it was a good.
Oh well done. You've won when you're bottom of the comp.
Any gift that benefits a player must be included in the cap, but the NRL are prepared to accept gifts that are within reason and given to long-serving departing players.
You have to put on your salary cap if you buy your player or someone in the club a gift.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's like giving Tino shares in the pub.
No, but
Oh,
If you just gifted him a pub,
Yeah.
here you go. Here's
Right,
this self-sustaining
I see.
business.
For the record,
Yeah,
Luke
I
Brooks'
see. So it
favourite
stops.
cut of steak is the rump.
Oh, I'm so glad I know that.
But what, $1,000 for that barbecue? It must be good.
Can we stop talking about the West? There's just an embarrassment.
Penrith onto
Penrith.
Gold Coast. I watched this game. I was quite, as much you've got to give Penrith credit, we know how good they are. I was a bit disappointed because they kept with them Gold Coast, and in the second half,
They were poor the second half.
well, I remember is it Brimson,
Fullback.
AJ.
yeah, I think he put a monster kick in, and Dylan Edwards picks it up. It's a bit like Hull FC, I was saying before with us. He catches it, gets tackled on his 20. And I think Penrith score off that set.
Yeah.
But there's no clear line break. They're just making over 10 metres every carry. And I'm a bit like, I don't know, you've got to give credit to Penrith in that situation. We've also got to ask Gold Coast, what are you doing?
Yeah.
At 20, you should be thinking, right, they don't get past halfway. We pin them in, our line speed's quick. And they just merged them downfield so easy. I just thought, it was a bit disappointed with that second half performance. They just merged them downfield
For me,
way too easy.
The thing is, the Titans are out of it now, though. So, how do you get up for games like this? There's no
Because you have
threat
to
of
build on it.
There's no threat of relegation. They can't make the top 8. They've sacked the coach and they've got an interim
They
coach.
sacked the coach. You know Desi Hasler's coming in. Can we fix something now? Can we start? Can we put a big thing together
You're
to
probably
show
not,
the fans to go and buy a ticket next year?
You're probably not going to beat Penrith, but can you go with them?
26-24.
Well, yeah.
Can you
make
stick
it
with-
respectable? Can you go 80 minutes with them and then show Des what he's got to work with? Maybe.
We're not a joke club.
It's hard though when you're 13th and you've got nothing to play for. This is the
But West are doing it.
yeah
West are bottom of the comp and they're doing it.
yeah.
St George is sticking with teams. I know they've not lost again, and we'll mention that.
No, but
lost,
they had a respectable defeat again.
they've lost to the Storm
Respectable.
38-28. But
Yeah.
with 5 minutes left, they were 30 points to 28 down.
I mean, even the Bulldogs done all right this
Yeah.
week. Stuck with the Raiders.
I look at the St George and just have a look at the previous games. They lost by 10 to the Rabbitohs, 6 to Para, 8 to the Manly Seagulls. They've been competitive. They've shown some good signs. And I just think, how can you not do that? Just have energy. Be up for it. Give your fans something to go and watch.
The club should have spent some money on a $1,000 barbecue and said, right, best play after 80 minutes wins it. And
They've
that would
not
have
got-
given them
they've not got the room on the cap.
motivation.
You would have to include that one on the cap though, Lewis,
To
because
perform.
it's not to a long-serving or departing player. So you'd have to declare it on the cap $1,000.
$1,000 barbecue.
They must have room for a $1,000 barbecue.
That's a joke.
It's just
a
it
joke.
just comes under a new player BQ.
Right. But the Storm, quite impressive against the determined St George side.
Well, they had to win, and they did. So
Yeah. Doing a job.
got 2 points for them.
Pappy played another game in the Sheffield. Is it not Sheffield Shield?
That's
Sorry, Queensland
cricket.
Cup.
No, yeah, Queensland
In the
Cup
Que-
from
in
the
the
Sunshine
Queensland Cup.
Coast Falcons. Just in all
Would
there
you-
as well.
Would you risk bringing him back?
It's so tough, isn't it? They've got 2 games left
Because
plus playoffs. Is that enough time? It probably is actually.
they have to do it next week.
Yeah.
If they're going to do it, they have to do it next week.
Yeah, you give him a couple of games before you enter the playoffs.
Definitely.
And gets the big intense
You
games.
definitely need back to
He
the
needs
win.
he needs some time to
Meaning
get
back
back
onto
to
the wing, but
NRL
then what
match
would you do
fitness.
with the...
Well, Warbrick wasn't even named in the starting team. He was named with number 19 on his back.
But he played though, didn't
Yeah, he played. But that suggests they were going to not play him anyway.
he? But who was going to play? Do you know who was number 2?
No. Dropped out of the squad.
I'll find out. Yeah.
But Xavier Coates obviously going to play. But Meany was your starting winger
I know.
and he's your goal kicker.
Oh, Remus Smith was named at 2. That's unusual. He's a centre, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So
So, okay, Warbrick drops out then.
Warbrick drops out and Smith goes back to the centre. Melbourne, I still think they can win it. If they get there, it's like...
They've got big game experience, haven't they? They know what it takes to win comps.
And any team with Munster and Hughes in the half-backs, Harry Grant at 9, is a winning formula.
Yeah.
Right, last game, the Raiders versus the Bulldogs. 36-24 to the Raiders.
Yes.
Was it Jared Croker announced his retirement?
Jared Croker is going to be retiring after the next... Well, whenever they get knocked out of the playoffs, I suppose.
Yeah, basically. That'll be him done.
That'll be him done, yeah.
He's been a brilliant servant for them. He's the most capped player ever.
He's in the top 3.
Um,
He's also up there for most points as well. He probably is number 1 for that, actually.
but again, the Raiders winning by just 12 points. I think this is a game if you're the Raiders, you think, can we go and prove that we can win by 40, 50 and we can put points on? Because if this is a game in the playoffs, they have to win it close. I can't see them winning a game by more than 2 tries.
No.
And that's going to be difficult in the playoffs, playing the top teams every week.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've got to give maybe a bit of credit to Canterbury. They've, like Matty said before, they've fought a little bit more this week. It's a respectable scoreline.
Yeah,
But yeah, they've not really had any Canberra. After like big blowout victory, they've just blew some off the park.
But the Knights beaten by 30 odd. Penrith beaten by 20 odd.
Knights looking good at the minute, to be fair.
Yeah.
Are they what win streak are they on now?
Who the Knights?
I saw a stat the other day.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
13 or
I was just
something
checking
like
now.
that. That might be a bit much actually, I don't know. But
It's-
it was
Last 7 from 7.
so I was well over 13, I don't know where I got that from. But yeah, I saw it was going to say.
But I'm looking at the top 8, and as it stands, I still don't think the Raiders. They're the only ones that I'm looking at it going, I don't think they could win it. Because they lose too many close games. And all of them are going to be close. They don't have big points in them. And that worries me. Where everyone else, I think they've got a massive attacking threat. You look at any one of them top sides, Penrith, they're just star-studded. Brisbane have got Reece Walsh. The Warriors have got Sean Johnson. Melbourne have got Munster. Cronulla have got Nico Hines. The Knights have got Ponga. Rabbitohs have got Cody Walker on the trail. I could keep going. The Cowboys have got Scott Drinkwater. I just look at that Canberra side.
Jack's the man.
Jack's the
Whiten's
man,
the-
but he's not a
yeah.
big point scorer. He's your halfback that creates everything.
He does come in with a few tries.
He's just
But
not
if
that
you're
X
thinking
factor.
if you're thinking about who's at the top, you've got DWZ, that's Lionel. You've got Alex Johnston on 21 tries. Sevo's always up there. Dom Young. There's never any Raiders up there, is there?
No, there's not one of them who gets 20 tries a season.
No, and the Raiders, if you look at the categories the Raiders are top in, it's stuff like charge downs, block drop goals, offloads, chase downs, things like that. You know, effort plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Ricky bases his teams on, and that's
I
what.
just don't think they've got enough pardon me. Quality
to go and win a cup.
to go and win a
Enough
comp.
star. I don't want to
No,
start.
I'd agree with that.
The
Besides
stars
Whiten,
Whiten, Tarpany,
Turpin is a good one.
and Hudson Young probably the stars of that team.
Rapinoe's getting on a bit. Whitehead's getting on a bit now.
Yeah.
Could they drop
Pappy.
out? Could they drop
Papali'i.
out?
Yeah.
On a serious note, they can still theoretically drop out because
I think this one was a big one though, when keeping them in.
because they've got Brisbane and the Sharks, and the Cowboys and the that's because they play each other. Sorry, the Roosters
Yeah, they're not going to drop two.
are 4 points behind us. So North Queensland,
They'd have to drop 3 places though, wouldn't they?
yeah.
The Cowboys
Time
and
shall
the Roosters and the Rabbits aren't going to all go past them.
Time shall tell, but the Super League and the NRL keep saying it every week. They've been so close. The league tables really
Yeah.
competitive. It's been a really good year
It's
for
took
rugby
till
league,
2
especially
weeks.
if you're a fan of both hemispheres.
If you look at the NRL, it's took till there being 2 weeks left
To rule anybody
else.
to rule the bottom 6 out.
And it looks like Super League is going in a position because people are fighting. You asked before, Warrington in 5th. Can they stay in 5th? Or another team going to get in? Can Leeds push?
Well,
Can Salford push?
last
Can
week-
KR, Hull FC. There's, it's going to go down to the wire.
Last week's Catalan were the only team not level with anybody.
Yeah.
Everybody was level, weren't they? With
Exactly.
3 log
That's what we
jobs.
want. Good competitive. Talk about the new TV deal. We want good competitive games
Yeah.
Yeah.
every week. Every
That
time.
whole every minute matters thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, that wraps up the NRL. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back with some predictions. Thank you. So lads, we're back now. Quickly, predictions for this round of Super League. We'll start off on Friday, just the 3 games on Friday. We'll be able to watch one of these because we're not playing. Salford Wakey. Can Wakey keep their survival hopes alive? Could Salford push for the top 6? Who are you going, Matty?
I'm going for Salford. I was impressed with them against Huddersfield. I think they're going to have too much for Wakey. That's all.
Well, first things first, I'm going for 12 from 12. I've done 6 from 6 and I want
Well, you're trying
12
to
from
keep
12.
the-
I'm
trying
going
to
to keep
keep
the
the throw.
streak going, and I agree with Matty. I'm going to go Salford for this one. I think they've got too much for. And they're coming good at the right time now, Salford. They seem to be getting a couple of good performances and peaking well. So I'm going to go Salford.
It is a must-win for Wakefield, looking at their running. But I can't see them winning away from home, especially at Salford. So I'm going to have to go Salford.
All three of us in agreement for that one.
Yeah. We'll be gutted if Wakey win.
Oh, okay. Lee's the Sky game on Friday.
Oh.
I was just checking. So I checked Sky Sports Arena. This is playing as what we talked about before, and it was just Super League highlights from last week. So I thought, oh, is there no game on Friday? Then I checked Sky Sports Action, and there was a live Super League game. So why you'd have two channels, one showing the live game, one showing last week's game? I don't know, but they've put Rugby League on two channels this Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've not advertised it, so I don't know. Sky, sort yourselves out.
Okay.
Go on, next game.
Castleford, St Helens at the Menderhorse Jungle. The Saints' weary pack will succumb to Blake Austin's magic. What do you reckon, Matty?
No. St Helens, I think, to carry on their good form.
Yeah.
Still without Lees?
Yeah, but they've got this cupcake schedule that they've got lucky with, where they've lost a few players, but they've got a few easy teams.
Are you going Lewis?
Yeah, Saints too strong.
I want Cass to win, but I
But
can't
so
back
what?
against Saints. I can't back against Saints though. Hopefully I'm wrong actually. I hope I get 5 from 6 this week. The Sky game, Hull KR Lee at Craven Park.
Yeah.
Matty, who are you going?
I'm going to go for Lee without much confidence.
Lewis.
I'm going KR. I think the fact it's at Craven Park, the whole KR fans will be right up cheering their team on. They'll want revenge after that Challenge Cup final. The players will be up for it. I think it's going to be close again. I don't think it's going to be a whitewash, but
Yeah.
I think KR will edge it.
I think it'll be close as well. I think this could be a good game for
It'll be
the
very
TV
tasty.
audience.
Very
Yeah.
tasty.
I'm going to go Lee because
Family connection.
imagine if they score first and it's 10-6. You've lost the Challenge Cup, you've lost the week after, you've lost the week before. I think that crowd could just be killed. I'm guessing I'm going to guess that's what's happened.
I think Lee will have to get off to a good start if they want to win that game.
I agree.
I think if KR get on top,
I
it's going to be
actually
hard for him.
No, I agree.
I actually think if it's a draw or Lee are winning, I think Lee will go on to run away with it.
At half time.
Hull KR have to be flying. Hull KR need to be winning after 20-25 minutes for me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all momentum's going to be gone.
Yeah.
So you two going Lee, I'm going KR.
Yeah, I'm going Lee. Okay. Still in Hull on Saturday. Hull FC vs Warrington. Basically, it's another team shooting out to make the 6. Hull realistically are 2 points behind everyone else, so they really need a win to catch up.
Yeah.
Who are you going, Matty?
I'm going to go for them to get this one. I'm going to go Hull FC close.
I'm going to go Wire. I think I saw some good. Again, they're going to build off the good performance they put in against Leeds. There was some good signs there. I think they're building, and I think there's going to be a victory coming soon.
Yeah.
And I think this might be the week to do it. So I'm going to go Wire.
I'm going to go Hull with the statement of if they play like they did
Against us.
against us, they can't win.
No, they won't win if they play like they did against us. If both teams play like they did last
And I
weekend,
think Tony
Warrington
Smith
will
will
win easy.
absolutely have them smashed in training.
Hopefully this will be
because
better conditions as well for them. Like play more to their hands.
I'll leave the Wigan game for a second.
Yeah.
Huddersfield Leeds Sunday 3:00. The last time these two teams met, Jake Connor kicked the ball out when they were losing by a point. Remember that back at the start of the
Oh,
season?
yeah.
He
Oh,
kicked
Rubbing it into touch when they were losing by a point to run the clock down.
losing 18-17.
Run the clock out, Jake.
He's not had a very good career so far at Huddersfield, Jake.
No, he
He's
hasn't,
kicked
has
a
he?
drop goal out on the full in the 80th
About
minute.
3
given
weeks
2
later,
more
did
points. He's-
Field not make him look stupid about 3 weeks later?
We talked about his defence last week.
Oh dear. Poor
I think
lad.
he might have kicked a couple of 40-20s, but apart from that, he's been about as useful as an ashtray on a motorbike. So
That's Jake Connor for
Have
you.
you just made that
That's
up?
Jake
I've
Connor
never
for you
heard
there.
that
that's
before.
a good. I stole that one from, do you know, Radar from golf?
Yeah.
It was very windy conditions one day,
Radar.
and they pulled out the yardage books because it was dead windy. He went, that's about as useful as an ashtray on a motorbike in these winds.
I love that.
So it was.
I love Radar.
Right, on the rugby. Who are you going, Matty? Huddersfield Leeds.
Oh, I thought you were asking me some golf question. I'm going to go for Leeds. I think they've impressed me, and Huddersfield haven't, so I'm going to go for Leeds. It don't matter if it's at home or not.
I'm going to go Leeds as well. I'm going to agree. I think Leeds good again to get the win against Wire. Looking like they've got some good performances in them. Huddersfield seem to be falling off, and I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I'm not looking at the table right at this minute, but I don't know. Are they out of the running now? Do you think for the? I don't know if maybe
They're on 18 points.
They need to win this one, don't they?
5 and 6 are on 22.
I don't know if maybe there'll just be a bit of disbeliefs and starting to creep into them.
They need to win.
It definitely will be if they don't win this week.
Yeah.
So they need to win. So they need to get off to a good start. I don't think they will. I think Leeds will.
I'm going to go Leeds.
I'm going to go Huddersfield. I think the injuries that they've got and the way that Huddersfield like to play the game and Ian Watson and trust the process and keep the ball in play, if Leeds make a couple of mistakes, I think Huddersfield could really punish them. I think Leeds only win if it's a really close game. And for that reason, I'm going to go Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we've got a bit of difference there. We'll see
Yeah.
who wins. I'll put them out again later.
Yeah. Right. Catalans vs Wigan. 6 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Matty.
Well,
We're all going to go Wigan.
Okay, yeah.
But why are you going Wigan?
I think this is going to be a tough game. However, I do think we might want it a bit more than them. I think they're probably gearing towards the playoffs now, and I think we're still scrapping for second place. That might be wishful thinking on my part, but I also think conditions in the south of France could suit some of our players.
Yeah.
King, Wardle, Marshall,
Field.
French.
It's
I
hard
think
ground fast.
I think if it is like that, I think that might suit our players. And I know it doesn't suit every team, but I think it might suit our players. So I think I'm going to go for that. I'm going to go for a good start and a good defensive performance.
Lewis?
Yeah, I just think we've got no greater. We can't be more motivated to go into this game. I don't think Pete has to say much to fire him up. They beat us in our own backyard. They embarrassed us at Magic Weekend, and I think that the players and themselves, and Pete might say this, he might not. He might, the players are professionals.
Leave it unsaid. You can leave it unsaid.
It's a case of
I just put
as
the
well.
hands up.
It's confidence in it. If we can beat these in the south of France, like I've said, I think it was last week, we know we can beat anyone who we might come across. The only one we've not beat, we beat Saints, we've beat Lee, both have not been beat by Lee yet. We've not won against Catalan. If we can beat Catalan in their own backyard, then we know we can do it in the playoffs, or should we get to a grand final and see them there, we know we can do it there.
We've beaten every team now. Now we've beaten Hull, we've beaten every team.
I'm going to say Wigan, but for a slightly different reason.
We've not beaten Catalan this season.
That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, so we need to beat them.
I'm going to say Wigan, obviously, but for a slightly different reason. I always think they're not a team that I can ever see us beating us all the way through the season. And I know this is a different Catalan to previous sides, but I always think we've got a result against them. So I can't see us
that might
losing
be due
3
to our
3.
excellent record at home against them up till this year.
Yeah.
I just think this Catalan team are in win now mode and are a different beast too.
I think they're a different beast than what they've been previously.
Yeah.
But even after Magic, as soon as we lost at Magic, I thought we'll beat them at their place. Because I can't see us losing 3 from 3 against them. I can't see us losing any time ever. And I'll never go into a game thinking we'll lose. But I always think with Catalans, we'll probably beat them once, they'll beat us once. Or 2-1.
Yeah.
Depending if we get them in the loop fixture. And I've still got that opinion now. Obviously, Mickey Mack is banned, but the rumour is that he's been successful with his appeal, and that's been breaking in the last 20 minutes, and I've not been able to see.
He's free to play.
Is he free to play?
He's free to play.
Which is a big upside for them.
Ellis will be back for us.
Ellis will be back for us.
I don't think that ban was fair anyway. I think it was probably right that he was.
Yeah,
was
I
free
think
to
that's the right result. It's a boost for them. If anything, I could have seen them not even risking appealing it and giving him a week off. But I think
it's a big game for the league leaders' ambitions.
yes.
No.
If they win this, they go 6 points clear.
Yeah.
Off Wigan.
Well, that's it done then.
That's two very tasty games on Sky Sports in this week, isn't it? Because we've got
Yeah.
Hull KR versus Leigh, repeat the Challenge Cup final, and
Yeah.
first v second in a run for the League Leaders Shield in
Yeah.
Catalans versus Wigan. So
Oh, sorry. If Lee and Saints win, they'll still be 4 points clear of them because we're all on 28, aren't we?
Yeah. No, Lee aren't. Saints are.
Oh, Saints is still on 20.
Lee are on 26.
So they'd still be competing with.
Or other way around, we might be on 30 and Lee are on 28.
Yeah.
So they're 2 points behind us anyway.
So I do think it is it's more important to us to win.
That's why I think we'll win, because it's more important to
But
us.
I can't see us losing 3 times to win the league. I just can't.
Well, we
Yeah,
might play
And I don't know why.
We might play them a fourth time depending on where we finish in the league.
Yeah. In my opinion, is we're going to have to either beat Saints or Catalan, if not both of them.
We'll probably have to beat both of them. Yeah.
I think we'll have to beat both of them.
But hopefully one of them's at home and one of them's at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
Not one of them's at
away.
away.
Hopefully we get second and get the home
Yeah,
fixture.
yeah.
Although, while I mentioned that, do you want the week off after the way we performed in this?
I want the week off, but the only reason I want the week off is because I want the home semi-final.
Yeah.
So
I do worry about that week off though.
so do I, but I'd also rather not go away to France or to Saints. So I'll take the week off.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that.
yeah,
Right. That's everything, isn't it, lads?
I believe so.
So, thank you for listening this week. It's been a pleasure. Bit of a long one.
Yeah, keep replying on the Twitter.
Yeah.
We do like interacting.
Give us your feedback on this episode and
Well,
what
no,
you think's going to go on in the league, actually.
Yeah, just when we put the tweets out about who's going to win or who's done well this week.
Yeah. So thank you for listening and see you next week.